you don't smoke weed. I know this. But I'm gonna get you high today. Cause it's Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
Today, I feel like pleasing you more than before. Today, I know what I want to do, but I don't know what for. To be living for you is all I want to do. To be loving you, it'll all be there when my dreams come true. To be any more than I am would be a lie. I'm so full of love, I burst apart and start to cry. It's getting near dawn when lights close the tired eyes. I'll soon be with you, my love. Give you my dawn surprise. I'll be with you, darling, soon. I'll be with you when the stars start falling. I've been waiting so long to be where I'm going, in the sunshine of your love. Well, I don't know why I came here tonight. I got the feeling that something ain't right. I'm so scared in case I fall off my chair, and I'm wondering how I'll get down the stairs. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Yes, I'm stuck in the middle with you, and I'm wondering what it is I should do. It's so hard to keep the smile from my face. Losing control, yeah, I'm all over the place. Clowns Now, some people don't like the way Sally walk. Hey, fellas. Yeah, man. Y'all see the thing wrong with Sally walk?
Seems to be a misunderstanding about who you belong to.
Too much rainy days, found so much crazy ways. I've got to get away, but baby, this kind of life is not for me. I'm working day and night and day, working for my baby. Anyway, now wait a minute. California knows how to party. California knows how to party. In the city of LA, in the city of good old Watts, in the city of Compton, they're pop rockin'. Woo! I don't get enough. Cause you've been fooling me. Pensacola girl made a fool out of me. Oh, when you look into her
Holly came from Miami, FLA. Hitchhiked away across USA. Plucked her eyebrows on the way. Shaved her legs and then he was a she. She says, hey babe, take a walk on the wild side. Said, hey honey, take a walk on the wild side. Candy came from out on the island.
There's a cloud. I wanna tell you about my baby. I'll never, never, never leave her, no. Loving you is ecstasy to me. Could never leave you, never do without your love. Oh no. No, baby, no. Wanna tell you, never leave you, baby. No. Loving you is ecstasy to me, and I'll never do without your love, baby. No.
What you know about gang? I got all the gang.
Now your father, he got game.
Don't nobody go in the bathroom for about 45 minutes. When
Mama's in her kitchen, she's stirring in her pot. And Daddy's sitting waiting to see what she's got. He's sitting by the fireplace with his hands on his knee. He looked around at Mama, said, hey, you better come see about me. Let's get funky. Yeah. Get it on. Right on. Now every time I see you, you know
the range. Money was the power in the stock exchange. You make money on your 9 to 5. Turn your grievance on your
When I was nothing but a lad of a boy some time ago, I remember every summer in my home, we had one guy that outstood all of the rest. He was the man that used to come around every day, and this is what he would say. Ooh, watermelon man, with the boogaloo style. Watermelon man. And everybody in the neighborhood would say this. Your brains is getting watermelon
If you're down and out and you feel real hurt, come on over to the place where I was. And all your loneliness, I'll try to soothe. I'll play the blues for you. Don't be afraid. Come on in. might run across, yeah, some of your old friends. Come on, that's right. You got to put it in now. Got to put it in now. Got to put your love. You got to put your love in my tender kid. In my tender kid. You got to put your love. You got to put your love in my tender kid. In my tender kid. Put it in. Put it in. Got to put it in now. Put it in now. Come on. Come on. You got to put your love. You got to put your love in my tender kid. In my tender kid. Come on. Put it in. Put it in. Just put your love in my tender kid. In my tender kid. I wanna hurt you, baby. I just wanna make love. It's all right. Just wanna make love.
Like a sound you hear that lingers in your ear, but you can't forget from sundown to sunset. Nah, nah. It's all in the air, you hear it everywhere. No matter what you do, it's gonna grab a hold on you. California soul. California soul. They say the sun comes up every morning, and if you listen, oh, so carefully, the winds that ride on the high tide whistles a melody.
You say you've been wondering, you worry that I'm falling out of love with you. Hey girl, let me tell you something. You could not be any further from the truth. And you think that I miss hanging with the boys, chasing after every girl I see.
Never gonna stop loving you. Never gonna stop. Never gonna stop loving you. Never gonna stop.
Look, she bending over. Lord have mercy. The Lord is my shepherd. He know what I want.
nice day in Aruba. I'm chilling on the beach, watching the ladies walk by. Oh, baby, wish you were here with me. Oh, I'm somewhere around the equator. It's a fantasy. Take your snorkeling, sunset sailing, champagne while I rub your feet. Dinner at night under the starlights. Oh, baby, where can you be?
I am Thor, son of Odin, and as long as there is life in my breast, I am running out of things to say.
Great, another broken white boy for us to fix.
That's my secret, Cat.
I'm always angry.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are. With great power comes great responsibility. I can do this all day. Wakanda forever!
And welcome, Internet, to another episode of Views from the 616, the blackest MCU podcast in the multiverse, powered by For All Nerds, where we discuss everything in the MCU from the perspective of people of color. And I am one of your hosts, the Tatiana King, a.k.a. the coldest winter soldier ever, a.k.a. Bapt in America. And as always, I am joined by my swagged out co-host,
Yes, it's your boy DJ Ben Amin, aka the Off-White Panther, the Power Toker, otherwise known as Sharon Carter. Didn't I tell you, Mr. Didn't I tell you?
you said it.
I'm just gonna cut it short. You know what I mean? We got a long show. It's a big episode. You know my AKAs. You know what you're watching.
Yes. Huge episode. Shout out to the Views from the 616 logo that Ben Amin is proudly rocking. You can get yours on your favorite t-shirt color, or mask, or cup, or mug, or notebook, or whatever. Phone cover. Go to tpublic.com/stores/forallnerds to get yours. And we thank you for all of your support, everything you've all been doing. As Ben Amin said, this is a huge episode we have. We are talking through episode 6, the finale episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, titled One World, One People. And let's get right into the basic plot. New Cap alert! New Sam Wilson! We are back with the finale review of the finale episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Which of our predictions came true? Maybe 92% of them. Were we wrong about anything? Maybe the remaining percentage? What will happen next? Stay tuned, fam, as we break down One World, One People. So, Ben Amin, we made it to the end. This has been a 6-week journey, and we appreciate everyone who's been listening, everyone who has been, as I mentioned before, has been supporting, that has subscribed, that has followed, that has left comments and ratings and everything. Like, we appreciate you. I just want to make that abundantly clear that you are very important to us. We love you, the listeners, and we really, really, really love our fam. Shout outs to you. Ben, I mean, before we get through and talk about our themes of the episodes and all the other stuff, can you just give me your just overall thoughts, maybe about the season or about what you felt about this episode specifically?
I thought it was a solid season. I've heard a lot of rumors about some shortened plot lines due to COVID and other circumstances. So that might have explained some of the things that I did feel could have used a little beefing up. You know, I won't say they were weak, but just could have used a little help.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what about this finale episode? Like, how did you feel at the end? Did you think it was good?
Hell yeah. Yeah.
You thought it was good? Okay.
Solid. Yeah, I chuckled, you know, a couple of times in parts where I don't think I was supposed to, you know, but I definitely did. But yeah, I thought it was solid overall. There was definitely some hokiness in parts.
And that's what I ended up, at least on the first watch. I watched it 3 times, but on the first watch, I I zeroed in on a lot of the harkiness that, or what did you call it? What's the term you use?
Hokey.
Hokiness. Sorry, hokiness. I'm thinking about harkness, but the hokiness that reminded me of things that I saw at the WandaVision finale. There was some fumbles there, which were just, again, like, it gave me some laughs that you weren't necessarily supposed to laugh at things. But that being said, I still saw a lot of strength and a lot of things that really made me happy to see. And like you said, overall, I thought it was a solid series. I thought it was generally, if you just look at it from a whole world perspective, it was generally a solid story. Yes, there were areas where they could have absolutely developed certain characters, have them simmer in the pot a bit longer. I, again, also don't know if it was just a matter of it's only 6 episodes, so you gotta fit in a lot into there. Again, I don't know whose decision it was for only 6 episodes, and perhaps that was just very strategic in nature, so they can't show everything just by virtue of what time that they have. And as we keep always saying, you never know what's really on the cutting room floor, and there's reasons. So overall, I still had a good time. This last episode, again, I found some issues with it. There were some areas of it that felt forced and as you said, hokey. At the same time, there were just certain resolutions made that I did appreciate. So let's start from there.
Yeah, let's start from there with,
Yes. And let's get into the themes
of the episode.
Something and yes, the first theme is always typically the title of the episode, because it usually is the underlying thread through everything everyone says and does. This first theme is one world, one people. Now, from what I saw, based on the lead up until now, I feel the Flag Smashers have gone full Hydra. And as far as I know, you never go full Hydra.
Except they were always full Hydra.
So now, what made you think they were always full Hydra, Benjamin?
Because, like I said on a previous episode of Views from the 616, the Flag Smashers' actions this episode are just the symptoms of the disease that is the Flag Smashers. Their intent is, from the beginning, all the way wrong. We've been speaking about this whole idea of killmongering, where characters do outlandish things, and that lets you know they're the villain. And I saw this week people talking about this idea on Twitter. They weren't using killmongering because they weren't, fans of our show, unfortunately, as they should be. But they were talking about the same idea. It'll come. They're talking about the same idea, and they said, Marvel has this tendency to create characters where they will, start off with righteous ideas and then finish with, let's time to go kill the civilians. But my problem is that's not actually what Marvel does. What Marvel does is start off with villains who are very charismatic and have terrible ideas. And because of their charisma, you ignore their terrible ideas. Right. Carly says that she wants something like you were talking about off air about how she wants something more akin to what Mama Donia, bringing people together.
Maybe that was the initial intention. Like, just only because, again, I don't know when this Flag Smashers was truly born. Was it born under Mama Donia, where they had a particular approach and initiative, and then it mutated once Carly took over? Is that what happened? Or did the Flag Smashers really only exist with Carly? And that's where, because again, remember, they were all together as a family unit because of Mama Donia, but were they the quote-unquote Flag Smashers at that point?
I don't think so. I think the Flag Smashers came around more so when people returned from the blip, because that's when they were like, oh no, we can't have the world we had. Like, they weren't Flag Smashers when the blip was happening, because they were just, trying to survive. But once the blip happened, then they had to become the Flag. The blip is them returning.
Flag Smashers.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I asked is because, like, the way particularly when Sam first confronted her, he says, yo, that's not what Mama Donia would have wanted. So that's why I'm just thinking, like, yo, was there such a movement prior that had more specific approach, a plan, as you would call it, and more reasonable goals? And then again, like I said, as Carly started taking up to power and things started going the way she didn't like, then it mutated kind of out of control. And now is the whole one world, one people. Like, that's when they started doing that. I said, hold it. Wait a minute, that's not what we signed up for.
But they were doing that from the first episode. They just weren't whispering it like Hydra. They make it obvious when they start to whisper because then you made the Hydra connection.
However, I still really subscribe that it mutated, because you can claim that it was about whispers, but no, it's more than that. Like, one world, one people. If that was Mama Donia's initial intention, and then if that was her initial intention and initial movement, that is a different connotation than the Hail Hydra type of movement. That's just different.
Hey, Mama Donia, let me ask you how you doing.
No, it is a little bit different, but at the same time,
like it wasn't. I don't think it's the fact that they whisper versus not whisper. It really did mean something different at one point, and that happens with a lot of movements where it did mean something different at one point, and then the wrong element comes in and twists it.
Carly is the wrong element. Mama Donia probably had the right idea. You know, teach people, reach people, do that, help the world around you, change the world. Carly wants drastic things to happen. Like Carly says, I want the world to go back how it was. And that means killing a lot of people. So when she says that in the first or second episode, the path is already set. The problem is already there.
People? Does it mean killing people?
Yes, because you can't go back to what this young, impressionable woman grew up on was a world without half of the people in it. You know, for 5 years, there was half of the people in the world.
Well, then that's an argument about politics, because that world could be provided
achieved now.
That world could be
blowing
provided.
up people.
No, I'm
ain't gonna get you there.
And let me be clear. I'm not talking about literally half the people being gone. Like at least in the beginning, she meant the ideals of how the world was, meaning the no borders, really meaning the community. The way people help each other, the way, as I mentioned, who knows, during the blip, maybe some dictator got blipped away, and that helped people come together, that helped people have more freedoms. That was the initial intent, and that's what I truly believe was the initial intent of this approach, of this movement. And then that's why I'm like, I don't agree with the idea like, oh, well, then it means everyone had to die, or half the people had to die. No. Again, there are elements there, but it's like, does everyone have to die for that to be the case?
Well, like
not everyone, but half. Like
well, like Carly said, like, you know, we have here in the notes is that Carly said, I didn't mean to kill your friend, and I don't want to hurt people that don't matter.
Okay,
but Carly was doing the Rick James this episode. You know, last episode it was Falcon. You know, cocaine is a hell of a drug. One moment
she said,
I'm
F your couch at this point.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't step on his couch, and then 5 seconds later, cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Like,
hell yeah, I stepped on his couch.
That line bothered me.
But let me show you how it bothers you even worse. I don't want to hurt people that don't matter. 5 seconds later, kill these hostages. You know, like that.
Well, they matter to her. She thinks the GRC are the key to everything.
As it's already been shown, these are just cogs in the system. And you killing the cogs is not going to change the system.
Because she does treat them as expendable.
Yes, and
they'll
just be replaced by other people.
Right. But I do believe that their expendability is in relation to the fact that they're important. Like, if she just kills some random on the street, it wouldn't change anything. If she in her mind, if she ends up killing a GRC member, well, they can't have the vote, and this can happen, and that can happen.
They can put some other.
But in real life, it's a very juvenile thought process because it's not like you're not thinking it all the way through.
Yeah, because 5 days later, there'll be some new GRC members to replace the ones you murked,
and they'll take the vote. Right. So again, but the reason why those lines bother me about I don't want to hurt people that matter, because again, mutation of what the initial intent really was. Not too long ago, she would have been one of those people that don't matter under her new worldview. So that's when I'm like, that's where the villainous change comes in, because it's like, what is your thought process to say something like that? Like, she said it as if she was doing it a favor. Like, I ain't mean to kill your nigga. Like, he just jumped. He just caught a stray. Like, that's literally what Carly said. And I'm just like, what?
But, okay, people keep ignoring something that happened in that fight, and it bugs me out, right? Because people are so sad about Mr. Nico to this day, right? Oh, my God, John killed
He was
Nico
helpless
in front of everybody.
And I'm going to come at you because of what you called and the word you used, but that's later down the line. But I'm going to come at you the word you used to express who Nico and the Flag Smashers were. You talked about terrorists. We'll talk about that later, but continue.
Yeah, and they are. I mean,
okay, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, and I know exactly where you're gonna try and go with that. But I get that too. But Point being, let's say your parents were one of the GRC members.
Okay.
How do you view them? Someone asked me this question about Bucky and me coming down so hard on Bucky and why I say he's a murderer. And I'm like, imagine if you're Yuri. Imagine if you're Tony Stark. Imagine if you're the countless other people Bucky has murked throughout this time.
Well, let's put it even closer example.
And man's out here just hitting on young women and stuff, living his life.
You see how Wanda felt as a kid growing up, how she felt about Tony Stark. And she ended up working with him. But remember, Tony Stark was responsible for her parents dying.
And Tony Stark has had a long redeeming arc throughout the, yes, he is in a way.
That's why I said essentially. Like, he didn't physically go there and slit their throat.
Not
but
like
that
Bucky,
was his bomb.
who went and directly, did dirt on Tony Stark's parents.
But he was brainwashed, Ben. My thing is, like, I hear you.
Let me, no, because people keep, okay, all right, now this should be a much longer conversation, so I'm going to keep this very short right here, right?
Gotcha.
People keep coming at me this week about me talking about this, and they say I am conflating brainwashing with military indoctrination. And what I want to let people understand is never once was I conflating, and I really dislike arguing semantics with people. But to break it down, the American philosophy of a democratic system of capitalism disguised under a democratic system of, which is really yet another disguise for imperialism and for the things that America's been doing for the last 500 or so years, is right there is indoctrination. Because you have to be indoctrinated into the system to believe it works, to believe that capitalism's a good thing, that, if I just work hard, I can achieve anything. That's all indoctrination. That's one step of it. Then the second step of it is actually entering the military, which Bucky, as someone informed me, was drafted, right? So Bucky didn't even have a choice.
And that was a different time when he came through.
I don't come for that. All right, this is now World War II. We have already seen World War I. The Great War, as they said, where massive amounts. And before that, America's been at war for all but 8 years or something of its history. So you have constantly seen. So when people say it's a different time, no, people have constantly in this world in America seen their children go off to war and not come back or combat different people.
Okay,
and beyond that, the American military is over 100 years old at this time, right? As far as I'm not, they're pushing it. They've been doing this for a long time at this time. But beyond that, to lay on top of that, we are in the MCU where you have a Captain America. So like when people talk about what is John Walker and all these things, you have to imagine where he comes from. He probably comes from 4 or 5 long generations of army people, where your great-grandfather was serving, and everybody was proud to do it along the way. So that is, you are born into it. You got to serve just like everybody else down the line did, right? Of course you are. And then beyond that, here is Steve Rogers, the greatest human being, the super soldier, returned to life, a damn near biblical figure being used as military propaganda in this universe.
Yeah.
So that alone is brainwashing. Yes, Bucky is mind controlled, but it's like, don't act like these aren't
related
and very close in nature, especially when you start talking about what the military, even in our society right now, in the world we live in, that is damn near brainwashing. It is not some, people just, indoctrination. Dog, like I tell people, I've been to prison, and the amount of time I spent in prison was like 11 months, something like that. And one of my best friends, when he came home, was like, I'm so glad you got up out of there, because you will be institutionalized.
Yeah.
Which is, and I had to shake it off when I came home. There were certain habits and things I did that I was just used to doing.
Right. I think your opinion and your point on this is absolutely valid. And I agree with almost everything you're saying. I really, the part, and maybe it's just the terms people are using, the part that I think that really needs to focus on is why people are getting at you is because Bucky didn't have a choice. Like, forget why he's a military person, forget this and forget that.
The truth
is you can't in that one respect, you can't put him and John in that same box because when Bucky was Winter Soldier, he had no choice.
But see, that's what people keep missing my point. I'm not talking about what Bucky did in those series. I talk about that when I asked you, how does it feel for Tony Stark? Tony Stark ain't gonna give a fuck. You know what I mean? That's still his parents. You know? Yuri. And that's what I'm saying. I'm judging him by his actions in this series. Bucky's been an asshole. You know what I mean?
I would disagree with you about the asshole part. There's some asshole stuff happening, but again...
Okay, all right, well, okay, but that's... Okay, like, let's say not an asshole, like, not constantly, but, like, the stuff with Yuri is wild, and I feel like it does...
I agree, that's wild.
Even in the end of this... Much. Yeah, in this episode, it does not give it enough time. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, he comes in, he's, all right, he's out, you know, then he's looking at him, Shorty's looking at him, and she's kind of like, it's all right, Bucky. You ruined this man's life twice, but you know, you're a superstar guy.
There are some problematics there with an S. Absolutely,
and then I'm all playing with Sarah's kids and shit. Yeah. You know, hey,
right. But I do think that's
everybody
important.
Loves me.
I do think that's important that you do communicate clearly your stance on this because and again, this is everyone listening. I'm also saying this as well. I also think that people are maybe misconstrued some of Ben's approach and the point and. I just think it's really important to like really listen. And then if something doesn't sound right or you're not clear, like do what I do, which is ask the question. Yeah. And then be like, okay, like I think just jump into the conclusion. Like even I sometimes do it, but then I go, wait a minute, give me some clarity about what you mean.
Yes.
And then if you clarify and it's still the same bullshit, I'm gonna call you out on it.
Yeah, but like I said, Bucky is not an asshole, but
that's
it's really ridiculous how light he gets let off in this series.
Yeah,
and how much people love him. You know what I mean? It's like,
but you also love him because this is a character we've grown to learn over the course of 10 plus years. This is also a character where we see he's gone through so much pain. This is a character that now has direct correlation with the Dora Milaje and Wakanda. We love those people. We love that place. We love everything that stands for it. My thing is, sometimes it's all about what is around this person, right? Like by association. And also at the end of the day, regardless of all of this, like you can, yes, on paper, you can say he's this imperialistic scum, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, he did not have a choice. No, at the end of the day, he was Winter Soldier, not by choice. And that's what people keep arguing with you about. There's so much stuff that happened that was not by his hand. He did not have a choice, man. You saw how he was crying when he was in that facing the fire with Io and she was saying them words. You saw how that hit him. And that's why people love him.
And then after that, he went and made up with this dude's son, you know.
Well, we don't know if he made up. We just know that he told
No. After that is when he went and made a friendship. After he was crying, he went and made a friendship with Yuri and played this man out for, weeks and months.
And we're going to get to that, but let's go on to the next theme. The next theme is the Black Falcon or Captain America, depending on what side of this this thought process you're on, and I'll explain. And this was actually said with a very kind of corny but also funny series of lines that happened. And to me it was like a PBS special moment. But after after Sam does what he does and saves the day with stopping the transport van from falling down, all the black people, or like 5 black people in the city were right there. The older black man says,
"That's a lot of black people. Hell up, it's a lot in the city."
I was joking. It was joking.
I know. It ain't got.
He says but all of a sudden, every last black person that's on the scene's right there. Okay. Okay. But anyway,
all the witty black people are right there.
All the witty black people. Yeah. But you know how Black Twitter got to be on the front lines. Yeah. We got to live tweet that. Yeah. The older black man says, "That's the Black Falcon," and then the somewhat younger black man says, "Nah, that's Captain America."
It was the pause. It was nah.
And perhaps it was just the way it was enunciated. It gave me corny.
It was the pause for me to nah.
And the thing is, I'm
Captain America.
I'm also not a kid who may really appreciate a line like that. Like that might be a really empowering line for some people or even younger people. So I get it that could have been really powerful for some. So I'm not gonna knock that. For me personally, it was a little like okay, but But the reason why I mentioned that is because it just reminds me of that the understanding of like black people will call you the black whatever. Yeah, like yeah. But black people will call you like the black Bill Gates or the black Steve Jobs or whatever. They'll call you that from now until whatever, regardless of what you say. And is it really that bad?
Yes.
But also, yes, it's that bad. And I'm saying that there's this dichotomy that it's not really that bad because it could be powerful. But also in the other case, it's like, well, you're also othering the person. Case in point that we said in a few episodes back, like, and this is a complex thought because obviously especially black people, we're not a monolith. We don't all think alike. The complexity of this is that point of view of whether you don't or want the term black as a modifier. Like, do you want to be known as a black doctor or a doctor? Like, there's power in saying that you're a black doctor, right? Particularly when you, and I feel like the power comes in where it's spaces where we were locked out of, where it's spaces where we were marginalized. There seems to be power in that. But also there is a sense of othering when you do that. I gave the other example of cosplayers where it's a big problem where, for example, if you cosplaying as Naruto and you haven't done nothing different, you literally just have on all of Naruto's regalia and someone says, oh, there goes Black Naruto. And it's like, no, I'm just Naruto. Or you a black girl doing Sailor Moon. There's Black Sailor Moon, there's Black Serena, and it's just like, there's Black Usagi. And it's like, nah, bro, I'm just cosplaying. Like, I don't want to be othered. But there is the other side of the coin, which is, to me, is also a valid approach, a valid point of view. It's just like, but what's wrong with that?
My problem with that is I just had to Google my man Jerry Lawson just to remember his name, the black inventor of the video game cartridge.
Right.
The American
now, we don't
engineer.
call him a black inventor, but also
no, but what I'm saying is no, that's no. Why don't they call the white, why isn't Bill Gates the white Jerry Lawson? Or when somebody black does something in engineering, why you got to be the white Bill Gates? Why can't you be,
yeah,
the black,
black,
you're doing like Jerry Lawson, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that again, that just feeds into what I'm saying about the whole concept of othering. And also the concept of the fact that we're coming to these spaces where we may have even done it first. Hell, 8 times out of 10, we did do it first, but we weren't given our recognition. However, when you live in a society where you're marginalized, you're erased, amongst other things, then you are seen as the second person to do this, number one, and then that's why that modifier shows up.
Yep. The Black Captain America.
Right. Now, again, I found that hilarious that they kept calling him Black Falcon over and over again, regardless of what Sam had said. They said, okay, nigga, like, you understand that, like, it happens in our families all the time where you'll be like, no, I do this or I'm that, and they go, okay. Like,
Yeah.
they say, oh, I'm a, what'd you say? Well, I'm a building engineer or something like that. They're like, nah, nigga, you're a janitor. Like they don't care about the honorifics of it, but it's also like, I think it's important to care. It's just a complex conversation to have.
Definitely. And it's also a conversation that we have, like you said, within our own family. And this is one of the things where you were seeing people talk as black people talk, but in a public setting, like, because those two black people next to each other would have that conversation in some circumstances.
Was real. Yes.
Yeah.
I will
it might have been a bit hokey for us. But
I don't think it would have been said like that. Maybe,
but very close,
very
in
close,
some
yes.
way, it would have been like, look at Black Ass Falcon, that's all that was left out, the ass, if you'd had that Black Ass Falcon, it would have been, nah, that's Captain, that's Captain America.
Well, no, they would
that's
never,
Captain America.
Thank you to Malcolm Spellman or whoever else helped write this, because I would be kind of irritated if they did do something that literal, because then it's just like, okay, blaxploitation. Like, now it sounds like a
Black
caricature
Ass
of us.
Falcon? No, I mean,
Black Ass for some character, some random character on the sideline. That's Black Ass Falcon. Like, come on, Ben. That
that goes to another thing I saw this weekend, or I've been seeing recently when people have talked about hip hop, and even not even hip hop, but like Urkel, right? Other things, and this idea of cooning all the time, right? Where it's like. Yeah. And they were talking about Shot G, rest in peace. And oh my God, I can't even throw that because I'll be here all day.
I know.
But they were talking about Humpty Hump and how he got trapped in that, and people kept wanting him to do the Humpty Hump, and how that's cooning. But my issue is that black people are by nature a very expressive, a very creative in, I mean, every type of way, you know, and we don't hold things in.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not cooning. One, like, let's take a situation like Urkel, you know. Urkel, at the time, now he's problematic in ways when we look back at it. But at the time that he was just like most sitcom characters, right?
Most of the time were very weird and corny.
Yeah,
like that.
and he, at the same time, this black actor got to work, became a hero to nerds worldwide. You know, like, I'm sure Jaleel White wanted to do other things, but a lot of people don't get to work at all.
Yeah.
You know, and this dude was paid, you know.
He was the centerpiece of the show, really. At some point, he became the centerpiece.
Of the show.
Yeah.
And so from that, he could, you know, Jaleel can create all kind of things, should do, you know, can live a luxurious life like I'm sure he is living right now.
Purple Urkel right now.
Hey, you know, I might have to give him some shares. I mean, I want some shares in Purple Urkel for real.
But all that and thank you for sharing that. That all that leads also to the, and I said
that's why I'm just saying that, like, you could say Black Ass Falcon. Long story short.
Yeah.
Like, why can't we, you know, talk how we talk?
Well, the way I talk is that's that nigga Falcon.
See?
But that, again, it could be regional too. So.
Shit, Falcon. That would be me.
Oh shit, Falcon, right? Because he definitely said shit in there. But anyway, moving,
What
like
the
that. That complex conversation I said is also like I said, is it that bad or is it
this nigga Captain America now?
Is it that bad or do you accept it? Because when at the end or towards the end, when Sam goes to visit Isaiah and Isaiah's outside, Isaiah's like, Black Captain America, huh? And Sam doesn't, and now previously Sam might have tried to correct him. Sam just says, damn right.
Yep.
So is that also could be an indication that he's accepted both sides of the coin, if you will. Like that it is good to have that modifier and you understand your acceptance within the community.
And also Isaiah is like saying a Black Captain America because before he said we would never see, they would never let a black man be Captain America, and no self-righteous black man would want to be it. And you know,
and also just the concept of, I mean, especially when it already happened in the comics, but especially I think this is even a larger impact because this is a visual medium that's seen by millions globally. This has this idea of Sam Wilson as Captain America. And yes, as the PBS special says, a black man as Captain America. This has far-ranging effects in real life. Like there will, like similarly to, and I use Barack Obama because this is the best analogous to me. Like similarly to how young children grew up as Barack Obama as the only president they knew. Like it's not surprising or weird to them to see a black person in that space, in that realm, in that title. And similarly, this is going to happen with this whole Captain America stuff. Like, there's going to be a generation that's going to come to learn Sam Wilson as their first Captain America. And even, you don't even have to be that young. Like, especially if you're just now getting into the MCU, you're just now getting to Disney or Marvel, whatever. Like, this is going to be your entryway. You may not go back 10 years ago to the first Captain America movie and learn all that history. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But if you come in ground floor right now and go forward, this is what you know. And this is your knowledge and your innate understanding of this title and what it is. And also like the younger gens, this is going to be different from how past generations experiences. And this is also like aligns perfectly with Sam Wilson's and also in some ways Anthony Mackie's worldview that this is going to help shape a more inclusive future. And this is what Sam in the show has constantly been saying and has been telling or debating with Isaiah. And it all leads to that thought of you can't be what you can't see. Like we say that a lot. Like if you can't see yourself, if you don't see black people being doctors or black people being engineers or black people being baseball players or whatever it is, like a lot of times you don't think it's possible.
And also, like we always say, if you don't see black people as heroes, it's tough to see them as humans. And like, sure, they didn't do what I also feel can be done where you can just change the race of a character. It would be very difficult to change the race of Steve Rogers because it makes no sense.
Yeah.
As this show is illustrated, you would have to have the Isaiahs, you know, along with the Steve Rogers because that's what would happen in real life. But in 2021, we can imagine a world because we've had a black president. So we can imagine a world where they would also use a black man as propaganda for the American military machine.
Yeah, like And I've said this. I hear you. You know, I mean, it's true. So I'm not going to argue that. But and again, like I said, how this changes generations. Like when I was in 5th grade, I said verbatim, I don't think there will ever be a black president because I just saw too much hate. And even in that young age,
young
I was just
Tatiana,
like, yo,
sitting at the lunch table.
I was like, right, because we have this conversation. No.
Yeah. Just like,
there will never be a black president, she said as she ate her Uncrustable. Like, no, that's not how it happened. It was like a conversation with a teacher. But my point is, like, I'm a millennial, and I thought that. But I'm part of the group of people that got Barack Obama into power.
But wait, you didn't see Clinton? I mean, you know, his black ass wasn't prediction enough.
Really, Ben? Don't do this.
Like, I'll be honest. Once they let his ass in, I was like, oh yeah, we can have a black president.
To quote Switch
they
from the
let
Matrix.
this man in.
No,
you know?
no. To quote Switch from the Matrix, not like this.
I was like,
not like this.
Not like this. Yeah.
No. But like again, and that's just one generation removed. Gen Z and below, this is what they're gonna know. And it's gonna be possible for them. And I just thought, okay, well, this whole implication now, how does this affect the future MCU stories? The introduction of additional black characters, like we know Riri Williams is coming, Ironheart, we know a few more people coming. Like, does this mean that Anthony Mackie is now at the top of the Marvel MCU food chain? Is he the most powerful black man in the MCU right now? And not by physical power, I just mean just in stature and where he is. Because Captain America is the tippy top. He's the top of the mountain.
Was he though? I would say that he was the leader of the Avengers. I feel like it kind of battled back and forth between him and Tony. Yeah. But I would agree with you that I think Captain America is more so recognized in the films as the leader.
Captain America, representative of America. Mm-hmm. And despite the truth, America is known as the #1 country in the world. So why wouldn't he be considered the top?
Yeah, it just feels weird to. Maybe it's because it's Anthony Mackie. Maybe because this episode to me didn't really end with that like feeling because there were no other Avengers. You know, I guess maybe there was like there's no like, you know, it just felt like this guy's Cap and you know these senators are going along with him because it looks good on TV right now, but. You know, it didn't. That's what I feel. It didn't feel like you're the head of the Avengers. I mean, there are no Avengers
right now, right? That has to be rebuilt.
Yep. So, I guess they'll come around. I think it's to be more complications for that than it will be. You know. Yeah.
Speaking of complications, Sam says at some point into his PBS speech on the news, he says, "I'm a black man carrying the Stars and Stripes. I know what it means." So I guess he does understand now. He never understood. I don't understand.
No, remember he got it and then he didn't understand it.
And had to spell it out for him with alphabet soup. Yes.
And no, he didn't get it even before that. He was doing the Rich James last episode. He said, "I get it," and then 5 seconds later, "But I don't get it."
So he gets it now.
Yeah, he just he's doing his usual. I almost said Anthony Mackie. I said Sam is a flip flopper. Oh. He buckles like a belt.
Again, shades of Obama he has. The only power I have is that I believe we can do better. Again, he's aligning I don't want to call it an alliance, but it's an alignment with the idea of the power with the common people, of the average citizen. And that's really how the Hope movement, one of the reasons why the Hope movement got so large and actually grew and was successful, because it was just like, I'm aligning with the people who can make change, the millennials, and everyone else who was with the program.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also continues, there are millions of people that are going to hate me for wearing the Stars and Stripes. He says, I feel the stares and the judgment, and there's nothing I can do to change it, yet I'm still here. No super serum, no blonde hair, no blue eyes. Speaking pretty much directly to Isaiah.
Yes, but the first part of that statement is speaking pretty much directly to the audience.
Yes.
Because there are going to be millions of people who hate the idea of a black man wearing the Stars and Stripes
and
representing
already happened.
Captain America. Oh, it did? I didn't see the articles yet.
No, not particularly for the MCU, but from the comics. That was when did that comic come out? Like
super mad.
3 years ago. I don't even know it was that long ago. But
no, it's longer than that now. It's much longer than that. Yeah,
God,
much longer than that.
I have no semblance of time anymore. Thank you.
No
COVID.
one does.
But
yeah,
it was years ago when that was even that comic was announced, and there was, I don't want to say pitchforks in the street, but there were people mad.
Super mad. Big mad.
Super big mad about, oh, why I gotta be black? Why you gotta change the character? Da, 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 da. Why you gotta do the same? And again, completely different context, but in similar vein when Thor became a woman. And when I became a woman, but when Jane took on the Thor mantle, like now all of a sudden it's a problem.
Yep.
So
it was just great for me to see that message. That's all I'm saying. I was just happy to for them to, already get in front of it. It was kind of like that moment in Iron Man 2 when it was completely different but the same, when Don Cheadle shows up and it's like, I'm here now, deal with it, and they just keep it moving.
Yeah.
Because they're talking directly to that audience. Like, there's millions of people are going to hate this. Nothing I can do to change that. Right. Sam is Captain America.
I mean, that's Malcolm, and by extension Marvel, saying deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great stance to have. Like, yo, this is just how it is. Get with the program or dip. Like, do what you need. And and because now Sam, he's not flip-flopping, at least at this point, he's not flip-flopping anymore. He's more definitive. I feel like at that point, that's when Isaiah is seeming to come around, at least halfway to Sam's viewpoint. And kind of being okay with Sam taking on the mantle, because Sam is making it his own. Sam is taking charge of his future. And Sam is doing what needs to be done. Like, all this time he was like, yo, I always was clowning this dude, like, yo, I can help you. Yo, I can make a few calls. I could do this. I could do that.
He said he can make a
no,
few
you
calls.
can't. But what did I say? It's not going to be until he has that mantle that it's going to happen. And guess what happens? He takes on the mantle, the Captain America, and then the doors open. He gets the pardon for Sharon. He gets Isaiah his recognition. And I would that, if he was still Falcon, would he been able to do that?
This is one of the problems, that overall, looking throughout the show, I definitely would have with it. The fact that this man sacrificed his life, to save the world and can't get a bank loan, when you think about it, it's kind of like, wow, but he's black. It's still like, fuck out of here. This man is a superstar, So that part and this part of it, like the fact that he took him to being Captain America, now he gets, sharing this stuff, and now
but I told y'all.
I know we
that's
did.
Gonna happen.
Yeah, but it does not, it feels quite hokey, in retrospect. It's like
would he get the loan now?
Of course, he's fucking. Would you turn down Captain America? But you'll turn down the Falcon. Yeah, it doesn't,
And you see how wild that sounds. It's the same guy.
Yeah. And not only is it the same guy, both of them, even if it ain't, even if it's Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson, both of them are superstars,
So like Sam walks in, asks for the loan, they say no, and then he leaves him, and he sits, or then he goes outside, he puts on a trench coat, sits on top of, he puts on a trench coat with Steve Rogers, and they walk in as a different person. Can I have the loan now?
No, I just mean like it's just kind of improbable that any bank would turn this man down unless they were just like racist bank,
right? But we clarified that was a racist move about denying him in the first place. So what's changed? The mantle, the title.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That still don't make no sense. Like, the bank would have to be out of control, because it's like they'd have to face that. We turned down the Falcon. Remember that guy who got dusted? We turned him down.
Oh man,
mans who died trying to save us all.
Right?
Yeah. We didn't give him a loan.
And that joke that we just made about, like, he's the same guy or whatever, like the same thing. Like, and this, and I admit that this is probably.
But they needed that one last end credit scene where he comes back in the Captain America suit.
Oh, like, can I have that loan now? This is what
dude's like, yes, Captain America.
Of course, Captain America. Yeah. And the last point I was going to make was, this could be like a huge reach, but I'm going to say it anyway because
it's not at all.
It's not? Okay.
Oh, but no. I cried.
I just wanted to, because I caught this. This. So at the end, when, and this is later on, when John Walker, I almost call him Jon Snow, but when John Walker gets his new U.S. agent suit, his first thought, he says, it's the same but black. Now, when we go back to Sam Wilson, now I'm not saying Sam is the same as Steve, but he holds a lot of the same overall ideals, the same approaches. Just really, like, he has the same, at least similar values. That's why Steve gave him the shield in the first place and said, you the new guy. So I found it funny when John said that, because John was talking about his costume, but it can also be read as a tongue-in-cheek, like, addition to our earlier commentary about, you know, what saying Black Falcon or Black Doctor or Black Captain America. Like, it's the same guy. Or it's Captain America's values, but black. It's the same mascot, but black.
But black. But you're black. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that line. You know, it's not a reach at all, because I love that line. How he was like, it's the same, but black. You know,
right? And it's like, I read that as as I mentioned, tongue in cheek, but I read that as like that's just further saying like, yo, all of these approaches are ridiculous. Like, if you saying, oh, I don't want this, I don't want Captain America to be black. It's the same motherfucker.
Yeah, but black. You know, like,
essentially, yes. Yeah. And yes, in the comments, I know what's up, fam in the Twitch. Y'all, I know it's popping right now. Yes, he's not the same exact person. I get it. But y'all feel me. Y'all know the listeners, like, let's be real about it.
He represents the same ideals as Steve.
Yes.
Falcon Sam Wilson has always represented the same ideals.
Twitch.tv/forallnerds. Twitch chat is popping. We probably dropping free subs right about now. Make sure you in there to get it. All right. The next theme we got, second to last theme maybe, is what's in a name / life is complicated, with the sub expression of words mean things. And this is what I was mentioning earlier to you, Ben, when you were talking about Nico and how you referred to the flag smashers.
Bring it.
So the GRC thanks Sam for saving them from terrorists, quote unquote, but Sam challenges them on the uses of that term, amongst others. You know, when the senator's like, well, what else you want us to call these niggas? Sam is like, well, you know, what do you think people are calling you, the GRC, for forcibly displacing them, like the displaced people? And then he goes on to his other part of the speech, which is these labels of terrorists, refugee, thugs. It's a problem. And that I absolutely agree. Like, these are loaded terms and typically commonly used against Black and brown people, as well as people who are not in the same realm of political, economic, or social power as like the GRCs or the senators and all that stuff. And it's used, generally it's used to maintain their power, maintain a global caste of sorts, and also used to wage class and racial warfare. Yes. These terms are used purposely. We see it all the time. And there's like that everyone sees that, well, most people remember that Family Guy meme that people made up where it's like Peter Griffin is dressed up in what, I guess he looks like Aladdin or something. And it's really weird. And he holds up this card and it's like a color grading scale. It's like dark brown to light pink, like the colors of the, you know, people in cartoons. Yep. White versus brown. And it shows you like, you know, well, what would you label him? And on the white part of the scale, the white skin part of the scale, it was like, what, person or something like that? I forgot what word they used. And then on the brown part of the scale, it said terrorist.
Terrorist, yeah.
So like, what, like, words matter.
Okay, yes, words matter. And but as I've said,
and you call them terrorists.
Terrorists. I did not call them thugs.
You didn't.
I didn't call them terrorists.
But you call them terrorists because you felt because they did terroristic things, which is true. They did blow up a depot that they did not need to do, all this other stuff. So do you think Sam was wrong in him correcting the senator and calling them terrorists?
No, I think once again, like, this is another thing that we got to talk about on the show, is that people want to hear half of what is said and not the full quote. It just goes back to just like what was said last week on when they were talking about they would never let a Black man be Captain America. But the line is, and no self-respecting Black man would want to be Captain America. But all the whites and all the angers focused on the first part of the line and tried to use I am Patriot as an excuse right then. Instead of focusing on the second part of the line, which is what, you know, they can't refute at all. Yeah. And I asked you and everyone else who's watching twitch.tv/forallnerds, listening, wherever you are, shout outs to the SoundCloud, iTunes, all that. look at Sam's second part. Sam asked, what would the people the GRC are forcibly displacing call them? And I would call the GRC terrorist imperialistic scum. But that's my point. You can't replace one terroristic imperialistic scum with another one.
Correct.
Which is all Carly and her cute little flash smashers are. And that's what I keep making these points. That's why I keep acting like, and it goes back to the whole thing. I mean, I can go on and we'll talk about all this, but with Baron Zemo versus how people feel about John Walker versus how people feel about Bucky versus how people feel about Iron Man. You know, it's a lot of pretty privilege in the MCU. And also, as you said, because people have grown with these characters, but these new ones, they're really not given a chance to breathe. John Walker isn't even given a chance to breathe. This is 6 episodes of he's the third build or fourth build person on this show, maybe, right? Tony Stark starts off with a movie where he's the monster. And he's shooting and killing people with no problem. But we root for him. And not only that, he's a white man shooting and killing brown people. And we root for him. That's his first introduction, right? But we sit here and root for Bucky because we're taught to love that one. And because, like I say, whenever I point out why John Walker would be the way he is, why he does the things, even though from the very first episode, I've told y'all, he's a very accomplished white man who's never run into a problem. And when he does, it's going to be hell to pay. I said that from the first episode. But people want to call him, and even we've made jokes about it on here about Captain
I call him Captain Confederate and all that stuff. And just to jump in on that point, like I definitely said it as a joke because just for stuff I didn't like how he was moving in life. Absolutely not.
But that's
do I feel like he's like this?
But see, when we talk about words mean things, you can't just say it's a great line. It sounds great. It's one of my favorite things. Alliteration always wins. Captain Confederate, straight down. It always works. But that's words mean things. Absolutely. And people are coming at me this week talk about John would have been at the Capitol on January 6th. And that's just false to me from the from the reading of the writing of this show.
Oh no. That's not, he would never.
No, John believes in
in America.
Yeah, as the rule of law, as a voting society, as a democratic society, all that. And
or he did. I don't know how he's going to move going forward, but he absolutely did. So if anything, he would be one of the random people trying to stop the people, the insurrectionists, or whatever they call. So.
And to reduce John to some Confederate, when he has a black wife and when he has a black friend, and to be like, but I'm not trying to say, he just has black friends. But that's not who John is. That's the thing. It's like, not every white person who has a black friend has a black friend. You know what I mean?
That's true, yeah. But
some of these, let me,
it's
both things. Like, you can't just like put these people in the boxes like that. It's especially when the writing of the show doesn't say that. John loves his wife. John loved Lamar. That was his homie. They've been through hell and back
I agree
together.
With you.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said last week, at any point, either one of them could have been killed, and either of them would have been going to their other parents' house and being like, "Yo, he got killed." The only difference in this situation was that John could actually avenge people. And people got jumped down my throat. And what the hell did John do this episode? Attempt to kill Carly. Like, dog, John is not some dude who's like, just a rage monster. But even beyond that, it's so wild to me how people, hate on him. But I feel like 90% of our audience this week is to be loving Zemo when Zemo blows up a truck full of people.
Yeah, he did.
Of innocent, damn near people. Like,
but you call them terrorists, so they're not innocent.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But if words mean things and he's not, and they're not terrorists, this man just blew them up. John killed one of them who had just attempted to kill him. That's something that people really miss in that first fight, right?
Yeah.
That like the dude, they killed Lamar. But 5 seconds before that, the man who John kills is holding John so that Carly can stab him. When Carly said earlier, "I'm going to kill Captain America." Like, people are real wild with their love on, and they're, and I get why, because people are taught, we are taught to follow the hero. We're not taught to question if the protagonist is actually a hero. Mm-hmm. We don't even really understand what those terms mean. We apply hero and villain just because it fits, but those are real blanket terms. Words mean things. You can't call people heroes and villains same way you can't call people terrorists and Confederates when they're not these things.
Let me jump in for a minute and give you a chance to pause, because
Yep.
I want to make it clear, like, it's not people, including myself and you yourself, being wild about it. This is just a natural inclination of how you connect with a character or a person in real life.
Yes.
And that's why, like, we
yes.
we in language,
Mhm.
we assign labels and
Mhm.
terms because we're trying to compartmentalize thoughts or concepts.
Yes.
We're trying to categorize things, and there are people in this world that hate that, because, you know, for various reasons, and also because of some of the reasons that you stated here, because there's so many conflations that happen, and also there's so many false assumptions that get made based on these labels and based on these approaches. So I agree with the general understanding that, especially within this podcast, like, we do have to have a care to be precise in our thoughts, and if we're not quite there with the precision, let's talk through it until we get to the point of precision. Is that going to stop us from getting these jokes off? No. I don't regret calling him Captain Confederate, but I also wanted to be clear. Like, I want people to see beyond the jokes. Like, like that whole thing that you said about the January 6th now that was actually wild, because to me, then you're not quite understanding this. You're not looking at that character. You're only looking at the jokes about the character and your own personal views of him. Like, personally, like now, especially after this last episode, I don't dislike John Walker as much. I still just think he's a clown at this point. Did I absolutely dislike him?
And he always is. That's I've said it from the gate.
But that's also your view, right? Like, my view was I disliked him, like, no redeeming qualities. Whereas to me, a clown is at least funny. So,
oh my God, you see that's
and that's me. But that's how I describe and how I define it, and that's what I'm trying to say. That how people are going about is they're using their descriptions and their definitions, and then also maybe latching onto the wrong part of the message.
Yes. Because, like I said, when I grew up on reading John Walker comic books, and he was a clown, but he was a hilarious clown.
And you grew up reading the books. I've never, and I probably won't, but I've never read the books. I have no context.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't all the way get. That's the only reason why I want to jump in. You can't get mad at people for that.
No,
like,
and I'm not mad at them, but I am mad at them when they take the writing that's in this show. Because that's like, once again, I keep saying, I'm not judging Bucky by what he did to Tony Stark. That shit's terrible, right? But I'm judging Bucky by being a free-willed person who decides, hey, this is how I make up with somebody. I go befriend them when I murk their son. Like, that doesn't take therapy to figure out that's a questionable action. I don't know if that's a result of you growing up in the 1920s. But even then, I feel like in the 1920s, somebody would be like, yo, B, that's not a,
yeah.
You know, fam, you might want to rethink that one.
Yeah.
You know, so that's all I'm saying.
And that's why I really hope with everyone listening, like, that's why I love this show, Views from the 616, and that's why I love, like, all the debates and discussion we're having when it's reasonable, and not like the sheer, like, judgment calls on everything that sometimes happens. Like, but because it's a good conversation to have and have differing point of views when you're kind of basing it in logic and understanding.
Yeah, and I love all that ish. Like, even though I think it's wild how people are going to look at Zemo, dog, as soon as they closed the truck door and my man said, one world, one people.
You knew it was going to happen?
I knew it. I started rolling. I was like, shit,
oh, they infiltrated everything like Hydra. And then boom. I really thought they was gonna help mans out. I thought they had cheekbones. I thought they were gonna help cheekbones out.
Oh my God! Especially when cheekbones started smiling, I started rolling. Dog. I was so mad that there was no way for me to predict. You know, because people have been hitting us all week, and thank y'all for the love and respect. Because people have been hitting us all week, talking about how we psych hits, how we this, and I don't think it's that. I think that people just expected much more mystery from this show. And we were told from the beginning that the show was not like that. It was about the journey.
It's not
and so knowing that, I was like, well, there's not going to be that much mystery. It's going to be a lot more straightforward. So Sharon is the fucking power broker. You know, it's like, it's obvious.
Yeah, it's just like, but that's why I refuse. Because again, maybe I was still in the WandaVision mode. I was still in detective mode. I was still in Detective Comics mode. I was like, it cannot be Sharon.
I was like, Shorty's got satellites. Shorty's got gas.
She does. Yeah.
Shorty got art. Shorty's a broker. It's like
she pop out everywhere like bro man for the fifth floor. Like she's always there.
The power broker, y'all.
Yeah. It's just that, we've also, especially in media stories today, like we've largely been trained out of the obviousness because we've seen so much in the way of art, movies, film, whatever. We've seen so much in the way of art where they really take pains to not be obvious. So then to have something that's given to you as, here you go, this is what it is, it's like you don't believe it. Because when you were saying that, like, yeah, well, I didn't believe it. I was like, they ain't gonna do that. That's too easy.
I know.
And Marvel what Marvel generally doesn't do things easy, but they did here. I was like,
Marvel does do things easy.
Not all the time. Not all the time. They wouldn't lie on trailers if they did things easy.
That's a trick they figured out, right? But in general, their stories ain't that complex. They're just very well done. You know what I mean? But it's still easy. It's the easy route. Making Killmonger choke out the grandmother is the easy route.
Well, yeah, but
it's like that's the easy way to tell the story. Because the hard way is for Killmonger, Nakia, and T'Challa to come to an agreement and start taking over and really changing the world. But that's a hard story to tell.
Just finishing up my commentary on this speech, Sam's speech to the GRC is really also to me indicative of what we as citizens tell our government and governments all over the world every day. Yet those in power, they keep doing what they're going to do in order to not lose their power. Sam says to them, quote, you control the banks, you can move borders, you can knock down the forest with an email, you can even feed 1 million people with a phone call. And that's very literally what our government can do. We talk about all the time how and yeah, you could say it could take some more time. It doesn't happen overnight, but they could end poverty if they wanted to. They could fix or help to remediate a lot of the social and economic shortcomings in this country, and I'm only speaking of the U.S., it could be wiped away with a stroke of a pen, but it doesn't happen. Like, how they constantly show those infographics is like, to end food insecurity, you need like 50 million or something like that, they say, and they say, that budget went to building some tanks or whatever.
Or Amazon made that today.
Yeah, like they always show these, and I'm saying this is the game that we're in. Like they show like, this is all we need to make it happen. So then we turn around and are arguing all day long to the people who don't want nothing to change. And I don't mean to be like so sad about it, but it's true.
I mean, the thing about it was that his speech was hitting people on so many levels. Because not only was it hitting like the government, it was also really going hard at Hollywood. When it was like, how are you going to do these rooms when everyone in the room looks just like you?
How are you going to make these decisions in the writer's room
when
and you don't have the right people in the room with you?
And then they cut to Sarah.
Don't say that. You try. Oh, no.
No, that's what it was. When you don't have the right people in the room.
Talking about Sarah as a character?
No.
Some people said she was underwritten, so I'm just saying.
I mean,
she was
everyone in the show was kind of and there's the other thing about underwritten. It's like you have 6 hours. Like I saw people complaining about Bucky was underwritten, while I know over here we're like, this man was the lead of the show. It felt like at times.
At times, if he felt like the lead.
Yeah. So I don't people that.
But he is a co-lead, both him and Sam.
I don't believe in those underwritten things because one, they're like with I can't remember that great actress who said that, but there's no small parts, only small actors. You know what I mean. So I don't believe in that underwritten, especially for a character who's like fifth. She's at that point 7th wheel, 8th wheel. Like, come on now.
Yeah. She's.
Well, what else was she supposed to do? It's like.
But my thing is that sentiment is because she's like the only quote unquote
sensible
main
one.
Black woman.
and sensible one.
Black woman.
True indeed.
And it's like, you finally get something where you got a Black woman that has some speaking lines, and
we just had Monica Rambeau. It's like, damn. It's like every time.
See how they did her at the end, so.
Oh.
Yeah, we're gonna
I'd almost
move
forgotten.
I will never let anyone forget that. Never.
Yeah.
Ben, you're
if you'd had people in the room.
Yeah. Ben, your favorite theme came back for Vengeance one last time. The 80s, 90s action movie stuff.
Yes.
Heavy. Again, the helicopters. Helicopters is just all over the fucking place in this series. They love the helicopter fights and the whatever you want to call it.
Explodinghelicopter.com. Shout out to them.
And all sorts of stuff. NYPD helicopter took a bad one. There was the requisite hostage situations and hostages and impossible situations.
Mm-hmm.
Like we saw the transport truck teetering on the edge of that construction site. It was about to fall down, kill everybody inside.
Let me point out something ill about that
Yeah.
moment right there when John is making his decision. Because before that, John is fighting against Carly. Great fight scene right there.
Yes.
I love when Carly came through with the slide on the knees underneath the thing, and then when she jumped up with the little Matrix shit, there were some good moves in that one. Like the fight scenes overall in this series weren't like outrageous, but I
But
thought
they were
did.
fire.
I didn't think they were fire.
You didn't think any of the fight scenes?
No, I thought they were good.
Including Sam's when he's running around with the wings and shit?
I thought
when I
that
say
was
fight
cool.
scenes, I'm not talking about just Carly and John. I'm talking
No.
about every
I
fight
thought
scene.
my favorite fight scene was the flash match with when Lamar got killed. That was my favorite, and the one on
Really?
the
that
that shit is solid. They do some ill moves.
I mean,
in that one.
it was fire, but I
Yeah.
didn't put it on the same level as all the wild, amazing shit they were doing with like that opening scene with Sam. Well, when he was trying to get that, like, come on, like to me,
Yeah, that was
every
lit.
fight. If we're gonna talk about fight scenes, every fight scene with Sam and how I mean, it was just so smart how he was utilizing his wings and then now the shield and
Yep.
that integrating that as part of his fight tactics, his movements, how he strategizes. Like that's what I like. That's smart fights, and that's why I put those above like flash.
See, I just like some good
You just
fight
like brawls?
choreography. You know, I like some good raw,
Choreography.
choreography, some raw fighting. You know, some of that raid style. You know, cinematography and all
No,
that.
those are
That's
cool
what I like.
too.
Yeah, and that's why when I saw that. But I will also say the first scene with him, and even in this episode, I loved when he put the wings up in the shield.
Oh, that was
and
beautiful.
There's a lot of real ill little moments, like when Carly punches him and the wings dig into the ground to brace him.
That happened twice.
Yeah,
he did that
instantly.
earlier. Yeah. In
And
another
then
episode.
and then when he used his jetpack to hit Batroc. But I love that you're right, from that first fight scene, and he's in the helicopter and he clotheslines this guy with the jetpack. That shit was great.
It's amazing.
But back to the ill little musical moment. While John's fighting Carly, and his theme is being played in a minor key. But then when he makes the choice to go and save the truck, his theme switches over to the major key of
John
that of
has
a
a theme
hero.
song?
Yep. John has theme music that's been played throughout this series.
Okay, cool catch. They including that 80s, 90s action stuff. We talk about the fights and all that. The corny lines are still there. when Sam finally stops fighting Batroc, that stupid side fight, he goes, "Au revoir,"
and
also jumps out
his
the window
one
like Darkwing Duck. Like I just
also his one about the robes don't make the monk was also super. Like they need better 80s lines. I'm sorry. Like they need, like Sam tried to or Carly tried to throw a pipe at Bucky, and once again,
no plan.
No one is trying to say it. Trying to get the
pipe.
Yeah, you trying to get the pipe? Like Carly could have
Please,
just right then.
Sir.
Yo, Bucky, you trying to,
What is this about blue and yellow lightning?
Oh, there we go. I just love these shots too. When the Flash Smashers are running away from Bucky, Sam, and John. Right? Did I get all the names right? Yeah, Bucky, Sam, and John are chasing after them down in the basement, wherever that was. I love the whole tension in that scene because it's like you feel that the Flash Masters' plan is just completely falling apart, and they're just running for their lives. But there was a lot of blue and orange lighting, which is a classic James Cameron from the 80s in Terminators. He would always have the screen split to that cool blue and then the orange lighting on the other half of the screen, or like a character's face would be illuminated in half blue and half orange. I was just like that classic late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, cool. And then the last part about this, we mentioned hostages. The fact that you need to have that perfect hostage required for your plan to work. Particularly in the helicopter scene, we meet a person who's now immortalized in the MCU, Isla Perez, who is a member of the GRC. There's a scene where Red Wing is scanning her, and it shows all her information. She's actually she's a Filipino diplomat and consultant rather. She has military service from back in 1989. She's flown Apache helicopters, Chinook helicopters, so she has extensive flight experience here. And also, she may actually, at least her character, may be the first, like, I guess, major immortalized Filipino character in the MCU. I don't know 100% sure if that's the case, but I don't recall another, like, side character or otherwise where that was the case. So if y'all know of any, let me know. But this might be the first. And that leads us.
This
Okay.
gonna be the first and the last.
Okay. Your other favorite theme of Marvel tropes.
Yes, definitely. I love John, trying to hold back the truck from it falling over, and then Falcon coming up with the classic moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment was a lot because, just like Falcon has said already, he doesn't have the super soldier serum. He doesn't have any of that stuff. It's just a human saving the people, doing the most that he can do, and along with his 2 drone buddies.
Mm-hmm. And it's reminiscent of all of the physical feats that are performed by heroes in the MCU or in comic book movies. Sony. Like we always see Steve doing it all the time. Steve Rogers, even when he's holding back a helicopter from taking off, he's doing that with his bare hands. Yes, he's a super soldier, but it's happening. Spider-Man, we've seen it like happen 4 different ways for different movies. But there's I guess one of the most recent when he holds the ferry together with 2 web lines. Like it's all of this. It's all of these massive feats of strength and what is it? Perseverance.
And also tech, because this scene is also reminiscent of that same Spider-Man scene when Tony shows up with his little drones to help push the boat and keep the boat back together. And I love how Sam's equipment, has now expanded to include at least 2 drones. He has 2 Red Wings with him now, at least.
Yeah.
So.
And also a thing I caught.
Also some strength boost. There's got to be some type of strength.
There's absolutely strength boost. There's no.
Yeah,
you
my
saw
man's
him at the end. You saw him touch his At the end, you saw Sam like rotate his shoulder cuff because like it was stress on him. But there's no way he could have did that without something going on with that suit.
My man's back with a crack.
Yeah, like come on, bro. Like no.
That's just like a 4-ton truck. Like that was a no joke joint. Yeah.
And also. That tends to be present in a lot of comics, superhero movies and stuff is that kind of Jesus savior vibe, which and there's a lot of levels to this particular thing, but specifically I zeroed in when Sam was carrying Carly's dead body to the paramedics like she was Jesus. Before that happens, you see Sam holding and speaking to her, and Carly's holding on to that Hamsa-like pendant that she had when she was next to Mama Donya's deathbed. And also, this intertwines a bit with what John says later down the line when he corners the rest of the Flag Smashers. He uses this Abraham Lincoln quote of showing love and mercy, basically. And I'm trying to find the actual quote he says. But he says, what does he say? Let me see if I can find it. Hold on just a second. He says, I can't find it. Oh. Mercy bears richer fruit than strict justice.
There we go.
And then, then you see.
Everyone just type that into the Twitch chat before you could
type
say
that
it,
in there, right?
No, it's too late. It was before you could even say it.
And then you see Sam coming down with Carly, who, as Ben, and other people rightfully would call them a terrorist, but you see that throughout that whole scene leading up to that, like he didn't even want to fight her. He was just trying to talk her out of it. He was trying to reason with her. And she just kept on coming. And this is the Jesus Savior vibe of just showing love, showing mercy, even against people who raise their arms against you. And when I say arms, I don't mean literally guns and stuff like that, potentially. I just mean even going against you. And in this way...
She definitely raised them arms against them, boy.
She did.
She raised every type of arm against them. Guns, hands, all them shits.
And he's being the bigger man and practicing, as we mentioned before, a lot in the way of the Steve Rogers book.
I more think that John did that this episode than Sam. Like, she was dead. I mean, he didn't fight her.
Sam he's even said in all his speeches this episode, there's gonna be people who hate me, but I'm still, what did Jesus say? I know you don't love me, but I'm still gonna do for you.
Look at John. Look, there it is. Look at that. I mean, give the man his props. He did display mercy because he could have ran up on them flashbacks, your boy Nico and them, and whacked them up too.
Decapitated Nico.
I mean, but Nico tried to kill him.
Sam never decapitated anybody. As far as we know. Like that.
Sam drops missiles on people.
He definitely threw that guy into the Grand Canyon type stuff, like an action character. I know they were overseas, y'all. Don't correct me, but I'm just saying, like.
I mean, I love the first. What's that? Is that Civil War when Sam hits the do on his wrist and the missiles rain down behind him.
Bring the rain, in the words of Tyrese. Bring the rain.
Yeah, he's just like, oh yeah, and doesn't even look at them as he kills them. Come on, fam.
As Sam does come down though, very angelic like with this body in his hands. Again, very overt religious vibes. But what is this image that you see, Ben?
This image comes from originally in the old school version from the Pietà, which is meaning piety, compassion. It's a subject of Christian art depicting the Virgin Mary cradling the dead body of Jesus.
Jesus Cristo, yeah.
Yes, Jesus Cristo. So it's a particular form of the lamentation of Christ, of the loss of greatness of all that. Like you say, Carly represents that figure. Sam represents the Virgin Mary, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, because if Carly's and that's why I'm like, what was that? That's why it again, some of the stuff that was a little hokey to me because it's like, all right, are you saying like at least in this imagery, Carly is more of the Jesus type because Carly also has gun wounds in her side and stuff, similar to how Jesus had his wound when he was pierced on his side, and that when he's laying in the arms of Virgin Mary, that's going on with his body. So I'm just like,
I don't think Carly was 33 though. I don't think
she wasn't. Everyone keeps saying she was a teenager. She could have been like 19 years old. But
yeah, I don't think in the 19. I don't think she made it that far. But also this image, to go more recent and more comic book, it is the subject of like so many comic book covers. But the most classic that everyone knows is the Crisis on Infinite Earths issue where Supergirl dies. And Superman is crying, holding her dead body. And I think that's what this most meant to represent. And also another interesting factoid of that imagery, Jim Steranko, the illest of one of all time, who also did a lot of Nick Fury. I think he created Val or helped to create her back in the day. He was once doing a drawing class on Twitter and explaining how letters are used so much in comic book art as the foundation of various poses and stuff, and how the Superman Pieta image is based around an A. Because it's a man or a person standing, with
with the composition of the body.
Yeah, the composition of it is of an A, which makes it even iller for this to be the big moment of Captain America, to reference that Superman Supergirl thing, and then also that represent an A. I thought it was ill. I didn't find it hokey at all because I'm such a huge fan of that Superman. So as soon as he started coming down, I was like, oh, they doing it. That was me. I was like, oh, shit.
I just saw it and I was like, Jesus? Like, it was just, maybe because, again, it's my whole thing about stuff being obvious. I was like, okay.
Yeah, see, I know, and I get the Jesus part of it, but more it's like Superman, Supergirl. It's that sad moment when the loss of a great thing is what it represented.
I hear.
And as much as I've hated on Carly.
So Carly's a great thing?
No, as much as I've dogged on her, like, people know what, like, I guess people don't understand that enough because they see, but it's so weird. Like, people will,
but people don't understand, or you have to clarify what you mean.
I know, but
you have dogged her out for most of the series.
But at the same time, I dogged John out. Like, I call Carly infantile.
Defended John more than you dogged him.
And I also defended Carly, but people don't hear that side. People only hear what they want to hear. That's my point, right? I called Carly infantile I called her whole planet infantile in an early episode. In this episode, I will call John infantile, and it was the most hilarious moment to me. I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back. He was just such a fucking little boy who got what he, feels like. That's people think he's this arrogant.
That's why I said clown now.
Yeah, I don't look at John like that. I look at him as somebody who is more insecure than anything. Somebody who is trying to live up to something he knows he can't.
Right. But the
so
reason
he's just happy with like U.S. agent, this terrible name, all that. But as long as he gets to serve, he's just happy to do that.
But the other reason why people don't like that, including me at times, is because this is a whole grown-ass white man acting like this. He's very dangerous.
Yes,
at the end of the day, regardless of the clownery and the funny stuff, he's dangerous. But I know.
Let's go down the line of dangerous white men that we admire.
And you're correct, but you have to stop bringing all these other people into it. Like, we're not talking about Tony Stark right now. We're talking about why people, including me at times, feel the way the negative way we do about John, because this is the same type of attitude that these January 6 people had. This is mine, and I deserve, and I'm entitled. And da-da-da-da,
No,
and
see, I don't feel like John. See, I don't feel like that's what John represents.
That's what he represents. Let me say behavior.
No, but no, from his behavior. Let me point it out. John, and this is what I kept trying. I guess I didn't make myself clear because I said it so many times. John is over here trying. He's told, "You're Captain America." There's all this art, everything. Not that you haven't you've worked your whole life for this. And this is something you never thought would happen, but you have earned it. You got medals of honor. You are the highest rated genetically, all this. You're not some slouch. You're the fucking man. You could throw the shield without the super soldier serum. Something Falcon struggled at. You know what I mean? This is something, you are nice with it. And then Steve dies, and they come to you, the U.S. government who you served all your life, who you've done everything, who you put it on the line for time and time again, tells you you're Captain America, gives you the fucking shield, puts up all this propaganda that reinforces this idea in your head. And then suddenly, Allah comes this nigga and his metal-armed man and tries to take the shield from you because you killed a terrorist who was trying to kill you and just killed your best friend. Like, it's really, and both of these people are war criminals who are coming at you wild.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
My only point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that John is this amazing villain or great villain. No. The only part I'm trying to make is that there are absolute parallels between his behavior and why people dislike him and the way he goes about things, because he mirrors everything you said is a mirror of some of those January 6 people. I'm not saying clearly John wouldn't be up in there doing that.
No,
it's
but
some of his behavior.
No, but see, that's my thing.
And the reasons behind his behavior.
I don't feel like and that's what I keep trying to say, Tatiana. The January 6 people are entitled. I do not feel like John is an entitled. And like we keep saying, John, no, he's not, because he is like people are like someone asked us this week. Do we feel like Lamar, was more deserving and that's why John drank it all? No, Lamar ain't fucking deserving. John is a beast. That's the thing. It's like we admire Tony for being a beast, but we hate John. But Tony is a much worse version of John. And then he got better.
I think that's the part.
He started off as a monster. All right? And I could go down the line beyond Steve Rogers and Nakia. And, I mean, T'Challa's all right. 90% of the Avengers, etc., are monsters. You know what I mean? And I don't want to mean words, but they are. You know what I mean? And so this whole thing when people are like, I get it because this show paints John into this corner and stuff. But that's why I'm calling all these people out. That's why I call Bucky out. That's why I call Carly out. That's why I call Sam out. That's why when people are like, yo, I'm Team Sam. I'm like, are you? I'm Team Isaiah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If anyone on this show, I'm Team Isaiah. I call out everyone on this show. Yeah. But what I won't do is say that they are things they're not. And to say that John is entitled, I don't feel that's the case. I feel that John has been fucked over by the government who told him, this is you. This is you, dog.
And I think that's just the only impact you and I have, because I think he's both entitled and fucked over. At the end of the day.
I mean,
and that's my only point, like where I'm like, I think that's where the division comes in, because everything you say, it makes sense, and you've clarified, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
I still believe and will stand by that he's still an entitled person, because he's grown up and told, as you said, I'm told this and I'm told that. You keep doing that. I don't care.
I don't know, but I don't want. Yes. Okay, then. All right, then we can move on.
Yes.
All right, move on. We're done. I'm done here. That's all I'm asking.
Yes.
That's all I'm asking.
And I agree.
I would put Tony Stark at the fucking Capitol before I would John.
Ooh, you gonna get some hate off of that, Ben. I mean, the villain of the show, Ben. I mean, okay.
I mean, Tony would have supplied Trump.
Oh, Jesus, we know that. That's a fact.
Tony is an ultra rich white man. Who would he be supporting?
At least in the beginning. Again, I don't know if that's Tony of Endgame or Tony.
But that's what I'm saying. Tony of
movie number one,
of Iron Man 1.
Tony of Iron Man 1 sells to anybody.
And full on would have been in Mar-a-Lago, because that would have given him the best tax breaks and et cetera, et cetera.
Tell the fucking truth. And again, different Tonys, different times.
Different Tony, yeah.
Even
Tony right now, though,
you think so?
He just influenced Biden to do that. He'd be like, Biden be a little more grimy, dog. You know?
my God, we're so off track. Oh my God, I'm sorry, y'all. It's
just a little more, because he's gotten better, but he still needs some tax breaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he did, so we ain't got to worry about
just
it. Right?
Finally, just finally in the things,
peace.
because I know we got just a little bit to go. Just finally in the themes. I just wanted to bring up Mirrors, the finale. We had Mirrors Reloaded, and now Mirrors, the finale.
Wait, what's the third Matrix?
It was
Mirrors Revolutions.
Yeah.
There we go.
This wasn't really a revolution, though. But
I mean, neither was that movie.
We have Carly say to Sharon when they have their little tiff before Sharon shoots her ass. Carly says to Sharon, "You want to control a world that hurt you, but I wanted to change it." Now, there's actually small...
Did you?
Now, there's actually small parallels here when it comes to Sam versus Isaiah approach to life. Mm-hmm. Now, clearly, this has nothing to do with like the power broker moves and wanting to control the world and all that stuff. But where it parallels is that it can be viewed from the line that Sharon is operating off of bitterness, which is what Isaiah, what largely the narrative has been around with Isaiah, like how he views the world. And he's like, how could you not be bitter? Look at how they did me. While Carly is operating off wanting to make the world a better place, i.e. Sam. Sam has that approach to life where it's like, oh, I want to change things. I want to do this. I want to do that. I wanted to. And again, the common denominator and what makes them different from Sam and Isaiah is, at least between Sharon and Carly, they both have inflated self-interest getting in the way. And that's where their downfall comes in.
I'll go with you with that, but I also think that Carly lied to herself when she said that she wanted to change it. Because Sam already told her she doesn't want to change it. She just wants to replace it with the same thing, just different. And she just keeps denying that, and that's what I mean. That's why I'm really not sure how much of Carly's, story was left, and with Mama Donnie and everything was left on the editing table. And I really wish we could have seen something, because her shit is so childish, that it just does not work for me, the way it was presented. Like, her whole storyline throughout this is just trying to like, yeah, right, baby. Like, that ain't gonna work. I'm sorry, but that's like, it feels like you're talking to a little kid, because it's like, this is like little kid shit. Like, we're gonna go back to the way. How you gonna go back to the way? I'm gonna start killing people at random. What?
You didn't think this one through all the way. I don't think.
Like, no, you got a lot of people to kill to get to half of the world, I'm gonna kill these people who are making a vote.
I have some
after I learned.
Okay, well, that leads into my questions that need answers. Yep. And what's next? Because here's my first question. So Sharon's just gonna keep getting away with it, huh?
How did she get away with it before this? She took mad L's, dog.
Okay.
This is her first come up.
I'm talking about now as power broker. I'm not talking about before this. I'm talking about right now, going forward.
I mean, this is her like first win.
Now she has many wins if she's power broker.
All her scientists got killed, which makes no sense still. Like, she knew Zemo wants to kill these dudes. If she's the power broker all the time, why would she put her scientists with him?
Sharon getting away with it is the fact that at the end of this episode, through absolutely everything, she's still alive right now.
Why shouldn't she be?
I didn't say she shouldn't. I'm asking you a question. I'm going to get into all that stuff about what you're alluding to. Yep. But it just reminds me, it's like white women always get away with it. Like, you always get away with bloody murder. But
oh man.
Also,
this poor woman got kissed and then watched the man go off.
And I agree that they've largely done Sharon dirty. I agree that they largely done Sharon dirty, which is also why I proposed the second part of this, which is, okay, but does Sharon deserve to get away with it, as I'm saying, after how she was treated? Like, you see how after she gets her pardon, she don't give a fuck. Like, she has her government trust reinstated, so she turns around and calls her people up to do more power broker crimes. And is she all the way wrong?
More power broker crimes. Like there's a specific category of
yes, but also, is she all the way wrong? Like, they left her, they being the government and stuff, they left her to the streets for years, despite her history, her personal history, despite the family history, despite everything her name has done. They even talk about her family name, but they was throwing mud on it 2 days ago. So despite everything that she's done for the country, similar to Isaiah, similar to John, the government threw her away. Yes. So is she wrong for being like, all right, that's cool, but on the low, I'm still going to do these shenanigans?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I mean, I just don't understand her general plan in this series,
Yeah, no one
Other than
does.
I guess it's just to survive and get more power brokers.
Like,
and
but is she now just, I don't want to say reduced, but is she now just doing it on this survival track where she's just like, I don't care what nobody says. I'm never going to trust nobody ever again. I'm going to do what I need to do.
No, I don't think that's the end of her story at all. I think
No,
this
not
is
the end, but do you think that's how she's moving going forward?
Oh no, I don't. I think she's bossed up still. I don't think she's on like a survival or.
Okay.
This is just another, like stat to her portfolio right now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, obviously she didn't need, and nobody really needed super soldiers that badly. Like I keep pointing out, everybody's like, "Oh, Carly gonna mop the floor with these tats this week." This woman ran away from Zemo with one pistol. Like. That was another part of the storyline that just never really made sense to me. I don't give a damn how many of these dudes you have. I don't care how many Captain Americas you have. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You give me like, I don't know, 100 Uzis. What's Cap? What you got 20 caps for shields. What they gonna do? 100 Uzis and I surround you. You know what I mean? It's rap, son.
I got 100 guns, 100 clips.
Yeah, I'm getting most of y'all right then. You might get through, but I still got more men with Uzis. Like, it's just, I never understood the whole threat of super soldiers, right? When you live in a world with Iron Men and things of that nature. Cap is, he's a tough guy, but
they're just
Cap.
they're hard to put down. And
yeah,
they're hard to put down.
but Carly ran and Carly got put down pretty easily. So
yeah, but she's also inexplicably able to take on this guy who's this super soldier, perfect soldier, John Walker. How does this man with all of this training and background get served over and over and over again by Carly? Not to say she has no training, but really?
Yeah.
What level of training does she have versus this guy who is the epitome of all of this stuff that we talk about?
Well, it's like 3 dudes on one. That's the other thing.
No. When it's one-on-one, she keeps serving John. Every time. Even in this episode, when she did all the cute moves that you really like, the Matrix move and all that stuff, she served, as you call it, served the fuck out of him.
I wouldn't say served.
She served the fuck out of him.
She got in a few lucky hits and then ran away.
Okay, so lucky. So every time they square up, every time they post up, she keeps getting lucky hits, and every time they go one-on-one,
it's never been one-on-one. Dude. Yeah, that's it. It's never one-on-one. Like, Nico grabbed him up and she tried to stab him. It's never one-on-one with these clowns, It has, and it wouldn't be because John would mop the floor with her. Like,
but he had a one-on-one and John didn't mop the floor with her. So what are you saying? It wasn't luck. But at some point, it's not luck. At some point, it's like, how is this happening?
At some point, you also have to say, it's like when people say, who would win in this fight? Writers. That's who wins in any fight. Who wrote it? Did they need, because in a realistic world, like you said, John is wiping them. But it's Bucky had hard times with these cats this episode. Your man's had a hard time.
And maybe it's just the inconsistency.
Your man's could barely open a door.
Hard times. Hey, but it did have some device on it, so it made it worse.
Some device.
Some device.
This man got a Wakandan arm. That shit should have had like
it did prevail, but you see, it prevailed eventually.
I know, but I was mad that it didn't open up. Another arm shoot out of it, like do you activate that device? Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, no, I mean, like,
he's not Iron Patriot, man. We gonna put a Gatling gun in that arm?
No, but they talked about that his new arm had more tech, and we didn't see it this series. And I was really hoping for something. The only tech we saw was it being deactivated. Like, that ain't new. An off switch.
Yeah,
there's your new tech.
I also asked, when it comes to Sharon, is she going to be part of the catalyst of story? I'm not calling her a Skrull, but she's going to be part of the catalyst of stories leading into the Secret Invasion.
Well, everyone on the internet has already been saying that Sharon's a Skrull because how could her personality change?
People change.
She got effed over,
she got done dirty.
And not to make it. And let me just stop right here. I want a goddamn apology from every person who doubted me on Sharon being the power broker. No, she had to be a Skrull. And there was a lot of people coming hard at me on this one. Real hard for no good reason. And I was just like, look, it's obvious this woman's a power broker. And I'm really happy that they made her the power broker and not working for the power broker. Yeah. That's some diminishing shit that's weak. I don't need her to be a Skrull. It might be cool if she is. People are talking about, oh, she was covering the blood. but it would also make everyone around her even yet more of an idiot than they seem to be, because it's like, I'm not sure what Bucky and Sam even know about her being a power broker at the end of this episode. And it's like, what? Or did they just accept it? Or they just like, oh yeah, that's a power broker. We're gonna keep it quiet. And so if she's suddenly a stroll too, it made them really like, God damn, you are slipping, He got them, Falcon got the new goggles. You would think they would be like, scroll.
But they don't know what scrolls are yet, do they? Well,
yes.
Falcon. I mean, those folks.
Wakanda.
I would assume probably knows. Yeah.
And well, there we go. If they know, they made the suit,
My other question was, all Isaiah gets is a statue, and I know the statue's important. It really is, because it's about the recognition. And I did see on the statue or next to the statue, it tells his story. It tells the story of him and all the people in his unit. Like if you pause on that part, that frame. But is that all he's getting?
Well, that's perfect segue, because I wanted to shout out my homie's daughter, Brisa, who is a big fan, a big listener, one of our young listeners on the show. And they also were quite upset that Isaiah only got a statue.
Like, I'm not saying it wasn't good, and I want to be very clear. Clearly, the recognition in that respect is very important. Having his story out there, very important. All that, cool. But that's it?
No dollars?
No dollars? I understand him wanting to, as he said, just stay dead so people don't come after him, but nothing?
Yeah. I think that's part of it.
Stay dead on paper, I mean.
People said that I paused and read as much of the inscription for the thing and there's nothing on there about him being killed in action.
No, it doesn't say anything about, it doesn't say, as far as we can see, it doesn't say anything about his current stuff. It just talks about his history.
But I would assume, because otherwise he very violated what Isaiah said, because Isaiah was like, leave me dead. And unless there's some way that they left him dead and no one knows that Isaiah's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because otherwise he's violating, even worse than Sam has been violating all through the series. But
I'm just saying, give man something else.
I mean, he got a gold statue. You could have given him gold dollars. You know what I mean? Like, melt that hoe down real quick. Pay this man.
Maybe they did. I'm just saying, I would love to see it. I would like to see it.
He had all them new plants. He was planting new trees and shit. Like,
bonsai trees and all that.
Yeah. In his broke ass house, though. I'm sorry. I mean, that man's house looked like good times, boy.
Oh, no. Okay. Let's wind down.
Sing it in the child.
When we get through these
characters,
we got to give everybody their props for this ensemble cast. Isaiah Bradley, played by Carl Lumbly, the God. We said it before. We said it again. Give this man his Emmy now.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about his statue and all that stuff.
Man, I think we both said this. I burst into tears.
I absolutely cried. At first, I had the tears when, or the tearing when Sam had Sam had his speech, and then it went to Isaiah, and then Isaiah, like, it was kind of that understanding, that unspoken understanding. That's when I started feeling it.
Yeah, and then because that acting.
Then when they went down to DC and went to the museum, and he saw that, I was definitely crying. I was definitely crying, because I was just like I said, to get that respect and that recognition is paramount. Like, for someone whose history and everything's been erased and no one has given you that. And me, I'm a respect person. If you do whatever else, if you don't respect me, it's smoking. It's smoke. And to have lived all this time and all this life and everything went through, and at least get, at the very least, that's why I always ask what else he's getting, but at the very least get this, it clearly moved him by the way he reacted.
Yeah, I lost it because my father was a military man. He was in the Air Force, and one of my favorite pictures of my father, in fact, is during his time in the service, and he's standing in front of this row of white men. They're all in uniform, him as well, and he's lifting this, what looks like some type of weight above his head. And my dad was no joke. He's a strong dude. And so he's lifting this heavy weight, and he's just smiling. And everybody in the picture is smiling. But it was also one of those things I always look at it like, damn, was my dad like being put on display in this picture, because he was a strong-ass black man? I don't know, So the confliction that I've always had with my dad in the military service, that he, that he served his country and he was proud of it. But at the same time, it fucked him over like it fucks everyone over. And we've got family members going way back, who are military as well. So that moment, Isaiah just, he reminds me so much of my father already, and everything. And so that just, I lost it, y'all. Completely lost it.
Yeah, I definitely, that was very heartfelt.
Yeah.
I also want to mention the more comedy side, Isaiah will humble a nigga. Isaiah will humble you quickly. He says this line, he ain't a Falcon anymore, but he's still black.
He's still black.
Still letting Sam know, don't get it twisted. And then him telling Sam, you're special, but Malcolm, Martin, or Mandela. Like, yeah, you're special, but I'm going to keep you humble. Relax.
Yeah.
Relax. Eli Bradley, his grandson, played by Elijah Richardson, who has also appeared in When They See Us, as well as Mr. Robot.
Yes, he was in Mr. Robot. I forgot about that. Yeah,
I forgot too. Yeah. I just wonder for him, we'll be seeing more of him in a potential Young Avengers project down the line, because he represents a character that we've mentioned before. Elijah Bradley, clearly the grandson of Captain America. He was not born with powers, but down the line, and I'm not talking about the first time, but now he lies. But down the line, he actually does get hurt and gets a blood transfusion from Isaiah, and that actually imbues him with super soldier-like powers. So I wonder if this is going to happen some way, somehow.
I don't know. The Patriot is one of those characters who I like, and I like Eli a lot, and he goes through some ill stuff. I could see it happening, but with Sam just getting, and also the name Patriot right now,
I don't want to. Weird.
Yeah.
And everything. By the way, everything I've said about what goes on with Eli's character is from the comics. So who knows what they do in real life in MCU?
And I think because there's two routes with these young characters, they could either form like the Champions, of which Patriot wasn't a member, or they could form the Young Avengers. So I don't know. And I really don't. I doubt they have a series called Young Avengers. I think it's trying to go different ways than what we expect.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And that's really what I mean when I say Marvel don't necessarily do things easy. Like they flip the script on us a lot of times. So when they don't, I'm like, what? So,
yeah, definitely. And I want to see. We're going to see these characters. Like my favorite of all, Miss America Chavez is coming up in Doctor Strange. So
yes.
When we've now seen Eli, we're going to see Kate Bishop coming up in a Hawkeye series. So we've already seen Speed Wiccan, Kate Bishop, Patriot, Miss America Chavez. Kid Loki will most probably be in the Loki series. Are we missing anybody?
I'm sure.
Speed Wiccan.
Throw it in
Marvel
the chat.
Boy. Marvel Boy.
Okay.
I don't know when we're going to see him. I love me some Marvel Boy, though.
Yeah. We have the Falcon, Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, played by Anthony Mackie.
New Captain,
like Missy. Yeah. New Miss. What she say? New Monica.
New Sam Wilson.
And yes, Ben, you were trying to explain to me how that this comic was a long time ago. It really was. November 2014.
There it is.
Was that all new Captain America issue 1, which revealed Sam Wilson as the new Captain America.
This might be the most comic accurate comic costume that they have done.
Yeah, and this costume in it is a damn near an exact replica of it. I wasn't really feeling it. It just the translation to live action. I just was like, eh. It was too aggressively patriotic for me.
Now, what did I say last week? And once again, shout out to my homie's daughter, Brisa. They had the same feeling about this. How in the hell did Bucky go to the Wakandans and be like, yo, I know you just kicked me out of Wakanda, but I need this favor, right?
But that's what I said.
Y'all going to make this suit out of vibranium, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, cool. It's going to be like the Falcon wings. Y'all can hype better. Y'all can do better than this. Yeah, they're like, word. We'll make better tech than that. All right, cool. We still with you, Bucky.
Here are the colors.
Can you,
I'm sure. I mean,
red, white, and blue.
I mean, at the end of the day.
What'd you say, Buck? What'd you say? Red, white, and blue.
Here's the thing.
Here's
the thing, Ben. I don't like it. You don't like it. But the point is, this has to lead into the story and the consequences and understanding of Captain America, right?
I know.
Sam said so himself. I wear the stars and the stripes, yada, yada, so forth.
Yeah.
I just don't like the look, but it is what it is. I will say that with this suit, obviously Wakanda tech is superior. Looks like he has 2 red wings now, or maybe 1 red wing that splits into 2. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Maybe blue flame jet propulsion type stuff. Who the fuck knows? It's just powerful. The suit, as we said, is probably increasing his physical power. is letting him tap into various communications. Like you see him, I don't know, maybe he could do that before, but he tapped into Isla's phone when he's trying to save her when he's trying to get her to fly the helicopter.
I think that was through Red Wing too. Red
Okay,
Wing was
sure.
doing that.
And then
Yeah.
and then he has these stronger protective wings. I just say they're stronger because I mean he shielded him and a person from a whole helicopter. So
Yeah, super much stronger. Yeah. It wasn't just the shield doing that. And also they braced him. When they braced him in that scene, they dig into the concrete. They are definitely probably vibranium, much stronger than his old suit. Yeah.
Sam is also giving me extra Black Dad vibes. when Diego's first of all, I didn't know a helicopter of that sort could move like that. That was also I was like, wow, okay. But when Diego, the Flag Smasher, is just going off with this helicopter and he ends up hitting Sam falls into the Hudson. When he gets out, he goes, "Boy, you just earned this ass whooping." And again,
I mean, that's
very
that
Black
80s.
Dad. Very 80s,
Black
but very
Dad.
Black Dad.
And also, that's Action Jackson, bad 80s black man dialogue in a film.
Okay.
Like, Action Jackson is the Carl Weathers starring movie
Oh,
of
that's
the
what
80s.
that's from?
Yeah, well, no, that line is not from there.
Oh.
But Action Jackson had such lines as when he shot a grenade launcher at a man he shot it in his ribs. He said, "How do you like your ribs?" And then shoots him with a grenade launcher in the ribs. You know, it's that. Or my favorite Action Jackson line of all time: the police sergeant's chewing him out for how he took this dude down. He's like,
Right.
"You could have torn that darn boy's arm off." Turns to him.
I guess.
So, he had a spare.
I can't say that. You know, I'm glad I was too young for all that. But I'm good.
Look, just don't watch Commando. I didn't say Action Jackson was good. I said Commando is, the epitome of classic bad 80s lines. No.
All right.
Action Jackson is terrible, but it has those moments. You will cry laughing, at it because it's so bad. Even I cried back then. It's so.
Yeah.
The Carl Weathers, shout out to them dogs.
Shout out to my man Sebastian Stan, aka the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, James Buchanan, the White Wolf or the White Panther. He completes his apology tour and he does precisely what I did not want him to do and tells Yori the truth. I'm glad that they didn't show Yori forgive him or whether he even forgave him because that was the problem I have. Like, I don't, especially when it comes to people of color, like, I don't like when, like, the white person's like, oh, basically just makes it even worse for them and then they ultimately forgive them. Like, I'm just happy that didn't happen. But I still also didn't want that pain on him, but also it's kind of a closure point, right? Because this brings me to that next question or next point that this is a contrast to what John Walker did. And I admitted to that, Ben. This is a contrast to what John Walker did in lying to Lamar's family about taking out Lamar's killer. Because you have to ask yourself, is it better to tell the truth? And yes, you're going to bring pain, but you bring real closure. Or do you lie to ease some pain, but you bring kind of fake closure?
I mean, that's a tough one. But at the same time, Carly's dead. So,
Not by his hand.
Yeah, but why does it have to be by his hand?
Only because he lied and said that he did it. My thing is, it's not that it has to be by, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But don't lie and say all that stuff. Because my thing is, and why I say fake closure, because if somehow, say Carly was alive and somehow it got out, then what? Then the family going to be even more upset.
But once again, this dude was trying to kill John, right? John killed him. Okay? If
Nico wasn't trying to kill John?
Yes, he was.
You mean when they were fighting?
Yes. He's holding John so Carly can stab him. Like, I'm like, people do not understand what is going on in a fight or what happened. Or Carly said, I'm going to kill. I just said this earlier in the episode, so I'm sorry I'm getting excited.
No, that's fine. No, but I generally forgot about that part.
Okay, I know everyone does. And let me reiterate what happens. Nico holds John. Carly rushes at him trying to bury the knife, I would assume, in his head and kill him.
Okay.
And Nico is holding him up like this so he can do nothing. If that had been Lamar would be dead. If John had been dead right then, Lamar would have gone to their family like, yo, I'm going to get the people who did this. And that would have been all of these motherfuckers.
Lamar saying I'm going to get versus John saying I got. He still lied at the end of the day. That's all I'm talking about.
I mean,
I'm talking about the lies. The lies. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, so, I'm talking about the ones Bucky told them. We ain't going to talk about those?
We do talk about them. You wouldn't
not
talk
enough.
About them.
Not enough. And see, I'm not even having to go back to his Tony Stark murders and all that. I'm talking about in this series, when he's a free-willed man, and this man made friends with this dude, and then at the end, it's like this half a second moment of Yuri looking like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then Bucky walks out, and then 5 seconds later, Bucky's showing up dancing, looking smooth at the barbecue. It's like such a joke, dog.
Well,
and I love Bucky too, but we gotta keep it real.
I agree in that part. I just could have done without. I just that was just foul. The whole Yuri thing.
Foul.
It was foul. That said, you did bring up a point that I want to mention. My boy got invited to the cookout.
Yeah, boy. See? I never once called John Walker my boy. Jamie Lannister is my boy.
Well,
yes. I know.
Problematic. But anyway.
But hey.
Yeah, Bucky got invited to the cookout, literally, and he brought a Walmart cake. Did you notice? He brought the cake.
Just love
the cake in that loud ass plastic container.
First,
that you
I love him throwing the punches with the boys. That was great. But Bucky's slide up to the table with the cake was like I can't even lie. I was on it.
He slid up to
like
the
that
table.
man was so smooth with the slide up to the
in front
table.
Of Sarah and them when he was holding
Smiling,
up all 4
laughing.
kids or whatever with his arm.
I'm gonna dig you out tonight, girl.
Yeah. No, because I just heard what you just said. No.
Look, that's a done deal.
No.
That man is Uncle Buck.
Okay. Maybe Bucky now finally understands that you can't be doing things on the basis of making yourself feel better, because he finally stops kikiing on Wednesdays with Yuri.
He got no choice.
Out a window.
No,
like,
Yuri stopped kikiing on Wednesday.
Whatever. The point is, it would have kept on going.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have been happening in the first place. Whatever.
Shouldn't have been happening. But that's what I mean. Even the shorty, I can't remember her name because she gets no love either. But the fact that she looks over and is like, kind of like, it's all right, Buck,
But she don't know. Well, far we know, she don't know what happened.
But
she don't know the story behind Bucky.
But she knows that Bucky kind of just stopped coming in there with mans. And I'm sure at some point Yuri gonna be, someone's gonna ask.
She's gonna say, that's the nigga that killed my son?
I mean, what would you say?
That's not something you just say casually, like,
facts,
by the way.
But when you're an old man and you tired as fuck, you gonna let people know. Like, that's the way. Oh.
That's why I don't fuck with him no more. Listen.
That is a wild conversation.
Like,
maybe like,
just,
damn,
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I just thought that, maybe he didn't. Maybe he moved.
Okay. Zemo, the guy you love to hate, Ben. I don't want to say hate, but
no, I
you
love
have
Zemo.
you have a issue with how people love him.
It's not. That's the thing. I love all these characters. I think they're all amazing. Bucky is one of my favorite characters. I think Sebastian Stan is acting his ass off from the moment he was cast to every. Like I said, that man slide.
You don't hate him.
That man slide up to the table was so.
It's just how you have a problem with how people love him without consequence. Like, it's just like they don't think about the stuff he's done.
They don't think about the fact. Zemo is the perfect example of the Joker in The Dark Knight when he's like, if I blow up a school bus full of children, everybody wilds out. But if I blow up 4 flat smashers and then lay back in my bed like the Mac, everybody's be like, yeah! And that's just all there's to it. But when Captain America, when U.S. Agent kills some man with a shield, everybody wilds out. But when I blow up, blow them up.
He ain't need to do all that. But again, and you're right, perhaps if it was done in a different context, people wouldn't be saying what they had to say about John. But John shouldn't have did it like that. I guess, and I guess that's the dirty part about it. You can say that, well, if he didn't do it like that, would you be okay with it?
Yeah, but neither should have Zemo. And that's my point. It's like people are accepting of certain things when they shouldn't be. Like, you should not, if you're not accepting of John killing this man like that, you damn sure should not be accepting, and Zemo. Probably applauding, which most people I'm sure were like, yeah, except for people who love cheatbones,
right.
Well,
go ahead.
I told you I rolled, like as soon as they shut, oh my God, as soon as he shut the door and he was like, because I was just like everybody when he was like, one more people, I was like, oh damn, she got people everywhere. But then it was just something about the way the car pulled off. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, Zemo, played by Daniel Bruhl, another person who did a fantastic job. And I didn't applaud when he did what he did. I actually was like, damn, because I didn't expect that.
I was laughing.
But we still see he's still pulling the strings even from the raft. He claims he's gonna let Bucky live, but who knows that the truth? And I don't know if he knows that John is a super soldier now. Is he gonna go after John too? Like, what's gonna is that gonna be John's new nemesis or new old nemesis as well? But also the question remains: is his old ass butler blowing up people now?
Yes.
Osnick. So who's more lethal? Osnick, Zemo's butler, or Alfred, Batman's butler?
I would also throw in Kobayashi, the lawyer for Kaiser Soze.
Okay.
And Usual Suspects, because he's right up there.
Okay.
And out of the three, I'm going to go Alfred, Kobayashi, Ozenik.
Okay. Ozenick's just carrying out orders, whereas Alfred would come up with the idea.
Yeah, no, Alfred will shoot you.
Hey, if you're doing Alfred from the Fox show, remember the Fox show?
Yeah, that man ain't no punk. No, there's some Alfred, like Jim Lee Alfred, where he was like a member of the British Royal Army and a ass whipper. You know, Jim Lee draw everybody like they, cut the fuck up. So his Alfred was no joke.
No, them Brits be putting it in, getting it in somehow. So
Alfred's my number one butler murderer, definitely.
Yeah.
They murdered Alfred in the comic recently? I think he's dead right now, yo.
Well, he's died before, right?
No, not like that.
Regardless of how, hasn't he died before in the animation before?
I don't think so. Not like this. Like, it's weird that Alfred's dead. Like when I read the issue and they killed him, I was like,
well, that's spoiled for somebody.
It's a few years old at this point.
Okay.
Shit.
We talked a lot about Sharon Carter, the power broker, Agent 13, played by Emily Van Camp. Excuse me. All right, she's the power broker. What else can we say about her? She's a double agent. Basically, like again, I'm not, like you said, I'm not sure what her ultimate plan is. Like, she frees Batroc and basically enables him to help Carly. And by way of that, Batroc is off to get his revenge. But she's also helping Sam and Bucky against the Flag Smasher. So it's just like, what exactly are you doing? After she gets her pardon, as I mentioned, she does her evil head tilt and she gets her goons in Madripoor to do the power broker shenanigans. Was Sharon right? She ultimately killed Carly, and Zemo said the only way to stop Carly was to kill her, because Carly would have kept going, and Carly was really about to shoot Sam.
Definitely. So Sharon in that point was definitely right. I mean, to me, I thought that whole three-way standoff was hilarious, though. And especially how Batroc just falls out of, the shot like dead. Like, that was...
And this is what
once
you
again,
said.
we called it.
You called it. Last episode, you said R.I.P. to Batroc, because you said there's no way he's surviving this last bout. And he don't. He gets shot by Sharon.
Like I said, it was just too many forces that could easily kill him
He got shot by Sharon for being an idiot. And at the end of the day, Carly
four times as much. Why did you say 4 and not 5? Like,
and then at the end of the day, Carly gets shot by Sharon for being an idiot. So,
Sharon's good at shooting idiots. Why 4 and not 5 times as much? I just don't get that one.
What you mean?
When he's like, now you pay me 4 times as much. He's an idiot. Is that what they're saying? He could have said 50 times as much. You know? Who cares?
Just on Carly, I thought it was hilarious when she was having this conversation with her Flag Smasher friends. And she was like, yo, we don't even have to be alive at this point. The movement's cool. We're going to kill all these people. Da, 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 da. And you saw their faces when she started going off that track. They looking at her like,
kill all these people.
They looking at her like, who is we?
Yeah.
And they was very hesitant to do the whole Flag Smashers call and response. Like, she was like, one world, and then they didn't say nothing for a hot second.
Yeah.
And then she was like, one world. Like, y'all not with me? So, I don't know.
Is you with me?
Carly Morgenthau, played by Aaron Kellyman, and Georges Batroc, played by Georges St. Pierre. The Flag Smashers, I know you don't care about them, but I gotta big them up. Desmond Kane, who you call Cheekbones, he played
Shout out
Velvet.
to Cheekbones, R.I.P.
He did an amazing job there. He played on the Shannara Chronicles, amongst other things. Shout out to India Busey. She played Dee Dee. She was actually, for all my P-Valley fans, including myself, she played Blue Cinnamon there. Shout out to Danny Diet or Det. She played Gigi. She actually loves to play. She plays mostly cops and officers and stuff. She was on our favorite show, Raising Dion. Mom! And shouts to Tyler Dean Flores, who played Diego, who was also on When They See Us, just like Elijah Richardson was. As we see, they try to get sent to the raft, but they don't make it halfway there because they get blown.
They don't make it down the block, dog.
Now, here's the thing. Did Diego actually die? Because I kept watching that scene, and I can't account for him. Like, I see the three, Didi, Gigi, and Dovich in there, but I don't see Diego. And then
Is Diego still in the river at this point?
Well, I don't know, because that was right after the guy told Sam to go fish him out. So I don't know but I don't know what the time frame is. Is it immediately that they throw him in a transport to take him to the raft, or
I mean, this episode's time frame is ridiculous because Sam gets from New Orleans to New York in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's we're ignoring that for now. But yeah, there's a lot. What's the name gets from Madripoor in 5 minutes as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Walker. I won't call him
Diego better. Let me clear this up.
Oh.
Diego better be dead because the point, I don't want to see the revenge of Diego. I don't want to see the revenge of Dovich, Cheekbones.
Do we even know if the movement's still alive or not? Like when I don't know if that cop is in on the transport getting blown up because he says one word, one people, and closes the door.
That'd be even funnier if he is
or not.
That'd be even better if he was in on it. Like if he was
like he said, I'm gonna use your line and kill you with it. Like that's cold. I don't know.
Killing them softly, baby.
I don't know.
They're like, yeah, one world, one people.
I don't know. But John Walker, going to John Walker. I won't call him Captain Confederate anymore, but I'm still going to call him Great Value Cap.
That's fine.
Or what you said, Costco Cap.
Costco Cap. Also, alliteration all the time.
Now known as U.S. Agent. That's what his character is in the comics as well. Played by
U.S. Agent's such a terrible name.
But he loves it. He eats that shit up.
You don't need to say Costco Cap because U.S. Agent is so bad that you say that.
Played by Wyatt Russell, who did an amazing job with his acting. I know your favorite character on the show. It's your favorite character on the show, Ben. It's okay. Just say it.
Yeah, I thought he did, like you said, I thought Russell did great acting. I thought he was well written. I've seen some people complain that his turn was too quick. But at the same time, I don't think his turn was that much. I feel like he was always. Yeah, I feel like he was always wanted to do the right thing. He just killed somebody. Like once again, we label people murderers, terrorists, but he's not a murderer. He killed somebody in that moment.
You said he's a soldier and soldiers are murderers. Didn't you not say that?
Oh well, in that case, then yeah. I mean, he's murdered a lot of people. So if you want
honest, Ben,
murderish, I'd say at least.
Like blackish, murderish,
yeah,
mixedish.
Murderish,
murderish
voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Voice.
But yeah, in his turn, his I don't even want. It's not even really a face turn, but he has a half face turn. But you see him during that part where he decides to save the hostages. He throws away his makeshift paper mache shield, and to me, it's kind of representative of him letting go of his obsession with that mantle of Captain America. Yeah. At this point, this is the most heroic choice for him to do. And in the wake of the paper mache shield comes the true shield, the true Cap, Sam Wilson, when he rises to the occasion.
Yeah, and that was so dope. I love that, him throwing away that shield, like symbolic of him letting go. And even that little head nod when Sam is giving his speech and he's like, millions of people are going to hate me for it. And John's like, oh, I was one of those millions.
He probably he's lightweight jealous.
I gotta swallow. No, it's more like, I gotta swallow that. Yeah, that was me. Yeah. I was an asshole.
Yeah, we do see him go full U.S. agent because he gets the replica suit.
I just love how he did that.
He gets the replica suit from the comics.
It's black.
From my girl Valentina. He is stoked to be back.
Yes,
and he's highly likely to reappear in the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, I don't dislike him so much as I did in the beginning, but he just makes me laugh because I just find him to be a big clown. And also, is he mentally unstable at this point? Because I saw him doing a lot of tics and having headaches and all this other stuff.
Yes, my man has post-traumatic stress disorder, all kind of other things.
Okay, but actively, okay. And also, just to make this point, his wife is a huge enabler, like Lamar.
I mean, she's his wife.
She's still an enabler. Like, as your wife, don't you also want to... Yes, you're supposed to stick with your man, but aren't you also supposed to be like, yo, maybe at certain times, like, maybe we got to think about this?
Maybe, but like I said, I keep thinking people, like, put this, like, because John killed a person who was, 5 minutes before trying to kill him, who had a hand in killing his friend. When Falcon is over here doing people away, it's like suddenly, his wife is an enabler now. Like,
not suddenly, like she's.
I know she's been there, but what does that make Sarah? Go out and kill people, Sam. Is basically what she's saying all the time.
I don't,
that's what I mean.
That, or even basically saying that.
But she's saying go out and be a hero, and Sam's way of being a hero, doing people away. Like, that's what I mean. It's so funny, but how we like.
But Ben, you gotta at least just. Granted, you
I
have
think
points,
it's
but
because Nico is white looking. That's my other problem with it.
Maybe
I think it's a big part of it.
It could be a part of it, but also, Ben, I just want you to the one part I want you to admit is that the lines are blurred. Like, it's not, and I know you know this, but it's not cut and dry.
Yes.
So when you keep talking about, well, what about this guy? What about that guy? I'm like, but Ben, there's blurry lines there.
And that's my point, Tatiana. And that's what I feel like people are not understanding.
Okay.
That is my point this whole time. The lines are blurry. Stop putting John into a box when you don't put the rest of these characters in a box.
That's absolutely fair.
That's my point. The lines are always blurry. Sam can sit here, Iron Man can turn and blow up dozens of brown people in his first movie, and we cheer. You know what I mean? We cheer.
I wasn't cheering him doing that, but okay.
We were, though, and I was in the theater. I remember,
Oh, you was with me?
No, I was. I was.
I
That's what I mean personally. Yeah.
You saying we as general
No, I mean
audience.
me personally. I mean we as a general audience.
Yeah.
I love Steve Rogers, but I keep making the point of what a Captain America means, both in our world and in the MCU.
Facts.
In the MCU, it would be insane. I can't even imagine. But in our world, it's still pretty bad. And it's really bad that we all suck up to that idea of Captain America and are all like, yay, Steve! And we don't question it.
Mm-hmm.
And what it's doing out here. Bless you. That's what I mean.
Thank
So
you.
that's what I'm always trying to point out. It's not like I'm just sitting here, oh my God, I love me some John. This man is buck wild. I said that from the jump. He's very capable. He's, probably was the star of his high school, had all the, had a black girlfriend, white quarterback, probably all that great stuff. Never had a problem. When you're in a small town, you're the biggest fish. And then he got into the NBA or the NFL, and he's like, shit.
NBA.
Like everybody says in the NFL or the NBA, these guys all move so much faster than they did on TV. And that's what happened to him. He was like, yo, I can be Cap. Fuck.
Okay, that's a
They
great
weren't
analogy.
even super soldiers.
That I think is the most resonant analogy you've made when it's come to where John came from to where he is in
he's
now.
Like, I said that on the first episode, though. That's what I mean. People didn't miss that.
You said the NFL analogy?
Yes,
I missed it.
I said he was
scared.
I said he was a super capable person. He was probably at the small town where he was the man, and he was like, I can be Cap. Because that's exactly what happened in the comics. He was like, I can be Cap. I can be Cap. And then when they gave him Cap, he was like, fuck, I am not Steve Rogers. Yeah, it's different. And that's like what these dudes be the superstar of their small town, or even they'll be in New York. They'll be the, biggest player in the state. And then they get to the NBA, and they're like, yo, because everyone in the NBA was the biggest player in their state. You know what I mean? So they're like, yo, these guys is quick. I wasn't ready for that, and they got to relearn it. And that's the same thing with this dude.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we forgive all these other heroes, but for and I get it. I'm not sticking up for John. I'm just making the point that all of these people have nuance, and it's wild to me how we stick up for Tony when to me Tony is worse, like easily. I mean, it's not even like in the same league. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous what Tony's done compared to what John Walker's done.
Shout out to Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who plays Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, also known as Agent 14 in the comics. I find her hilarious. She reminds me of Q from Star Trek: The Next Generation, because she's very duplicitous, and she likes to fuck around, manipulate people. I don't know if she's actually affiliated with the government. You think she is? And
yes.
And I don't see her as a villain, but she operates in that gray area.
Yeah, definitely a gray area, like the black ops part of the government that don't have a budget.
Oh,
that type of stuff. Yeah, that's definitely her. But the big clue to this is the fact that she uses an iPhone, and Apple will historically not let characters who are villains or considered a villain
have an iPhone.
Which was the big hint towards Sharon being the villain because she did not have an iPhone.
Right. Oh, that's so true. They do say that in their marketing branding guidelines. So so that's how you know for sure that she's not a villain.
Yeah, wow. Or at least not yet. In this story, she isn't. That's how they can
But you know that's effed up by Apple because they know how people be treating people with Android phones, trying to say like, "Oh, you got that green bubble, I can't fuck with you," and da 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 da. So what you trying to say? Like if you got an Android, you evil? Like what they trying to say? Apple, Steve? Not Steve, but Tim.
Hey, I don't know.
Timothy Cook. What are you saying?
I don't know. But yeah, so I think at this point for this storyline, she can be considered in that gray area at the very least. But I think as time goes on, it's going to be her, maybe Thunderbolt Ross forming the Thunderbolts or some type of version of them with John. But I mean, a team in John and Zemo would be great. Also, real quick, I love that in this episode, Bucky was always a Bucky to a Captain America. Like he runs off with John. And then he teams up with Sam. So he's always playing that Bucky role to,
he's always playing the Bucky role with whoever the sidekick role with whoever he ends up with.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride,
But he chooses. Don't make it like it's a sad story for him.
No, because this man still Mr. Steal Your Girl. So don't act like, he might be the bridesmaid and then you show up at the wedding and, my man driving off.
Oh, my God. Lamar Battlestar, played by Clay Bennett. Still don't have an emoji on Twitter. Rest in peace and power to you. To Lamar. I don't know what else to say about Lamar. Like, it's just...
Still don't have an emoji.
Still don't got that shape up. Like, it is what it is. Sarah, played by Adapero Oduye, and apologies for my pronunciation. We said it before. She's gonna date Bucky now. I mean, she clearly took a liking to him a little bit.
I don't know about date.
I don't know. She
let it. Once or twice. Keep it moving. Whenever he's in town, you can come through.
Joaquin Torres, known as Torres, played by Danny Ramirez. As we mentioned previously in the comics, his character, it's a weird way it happens, but his character becomes the new Falcon. In this case, is he going to rebuild the old wings that Sam basically left him and become Falcon? Ben, you say that you think he's repairing it in the last shot.
It seems to be that he's repairing him in the last shot, and I think that'll be a ways away if we ever see that. But, it's just kind of cute little,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, finishing up in our Easter eggs, inspiration, and music, one of the reporters asked Sam if his new name is Captain Falcon, which I found hilarious because that's actually a name of a Smash Brothers character in Nintendo. And also from the game F-Zero. That's actually one of my mains when I play Smash Brothers. So, Falcon Punch.
There you go.
And lastly, talking about music, they actually, I love the cookout scene. I thought it was cute. It was very for real, especially, again, with that Walmart cake. But during that Cookout Shrimp Fest in Delacroix, Louisiana, the song On and On by Curtis Harding plays. It's from 2017. And the lyrics in the chorus and the verse is very indicative of Sam's path forward. It talks about, I'm going to keep rolling on no matter what the world may do. I'm gonna keep going no matter what you say. And it's actually a really good song. I really enjoyed listening to it. Anything else, Ben?
Woo! Oh man, I was looking through my little bit of notes of anything that was not said. Oh, the flag smashers, because other people pointed at us out when they're using the smoke grenades, they resemble the same grenades that the Green Goblin used. That's the kind of weird little connections that people make on
Sharon's
a lot of
Mercury Vapor grenade did too.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of connections that people make on these other podcasts. I don't give a fuck because who cares? That's like so ridiculous. Like honestly, I'll just be honest. Like that's not what we do on Views from the 616.
No, I mean, like that when it makes sense to,
it makes sense, but that's just reaching outrageously. Like the green, like suddenly the green guy. And remember back then? Oh yeah, that was my grenades. No, they're not gonna do that. That'd be so silly.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You got everything?
That's it.
Yes.
I think that's it. I did want to shout out the woman who looked like, I called her Fake Gyllenhaal when she handed Bucky the phone.
Oh, Fake who?
Fake Gyllenhaal, because she looked like the Gyllenhaal sibling. Yeah, she looked like Maggie to me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I went with Fake Gyllenhaal for that one.
Is she gonna pop out later? Because she was clearly...
No, once again, see that's what I mean.
She just met some random person.
But that That is the interesting part. Like there are people said this too. We don't get to see anybody mourning for Carly, who is a big figure to a lot of people. And also,
a lot.
We didn't see what happened to the rest of her little pop-up army that she got together.
You see the Flag Smashers masks, at least in this one scene, some masks being not thrown down the ground, but they're on the ground and people walking away from it to try to signify that some people have given up the cause. But we know everyone has not given up the movement. There's some going to be, and that's what you said, you don't want to see Diego be alive and do this revenge tour, but like, what if that is going to potentially happen? Like, we know that people all around the world, all the people helping Carly, and now, like, you think everyone's just going to drop it? No.
I know,
Carly
but
is right in that respect that the movement can go on without her.
Yes, but just like how people got over that blood on that shield really quick, I feel like they're going to get over these Flag Smashers really quick, too. And there's just going to be other issues and other threats to Marvel. You know, we can't say, because we do know this has been announced, that the Captain America 4 movie starring Anthony Mackie is coming, written by Malcolm Spellman. Shout out to Malcolm Spellman. Congratulations, fam. And so that is coming, but I doubt the Flag Smashers are going to be the villains of Captain America 4.
Okay. Oh, I don't want them to. We had that story already.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
yeah.
I think this is the end for them. Okay. This is it.
All right.
There'll be maybe some mentions, you know, but like Diego or anybody else coming back, you know, their kids or somebody else taking that's
some Kill Bill like revenge story.
Yeah, that's no, none of that.
Well,
no, moving on.
That's also
the Flag Smashers are inconsequential. The Flag Smasher is inconsequential in the comics, so I can't see him being, you know.
Yeah. Well, that is the end also of this review of this series, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Thank you, everyone who has stuck in through us over the last 6 weeks. Thank you to all the new people who have joined the fam, who have bought the t-shirts, who have bought the merch, who have joined the Patreon, patreon.com/forallnerds. The lowest tier there is $2. So that $2 a month gives you access to all the extras that we give to our Patreon fam, as well as special privileges as well. Thank you to everyone who has been open-minded and listened to what we had to say, whether you agreed or disagreed. Let's have the dialogue. Let's have the conversation. Let's be civil about it, and let's respect each other too. But thank you, everyone who has been joining us. Thank you to the chat, as always, on the Twitch, twitch.tv/forallnerds. We've been doing it every Monday at 1 p.m. We will be back again for Loki. And some other Marvel stuff.
Oh, we're going to be back next Monday at 1 p.m. We ain't done yet.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be because this is when the show's coming about. But there's more stuff. So definitely make sure you are following us at the very least on Twitch. If you have the means, please also subscribe and join the chat because we have a lot of fun in there. Please follow us. I'm at Tatiana King. That's at DJ Ben Amin. I said it like, what's his face? Like, please clap. But please follow us. Please follow us on socials at For All Nerds. If you want to follow the main brand, you can also follow Views from the 616. It's actually called Views from 616 on the Twitters. Look at that beautiful mask Ben Amin has on. As we mentioned at the top, go to tpublic.com/stores/For All Nerds to get your merch. This is absolutely beautiful. I can't wait for mine to come in. I can't wait to take pictures in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I, again, just salute to everyone. This is a wild ride, but I had a blast. There's going to be more. We're going to have we're working on some things. So make sure you are tuned in and locked in because we're going to announce some stuff real soon. Ben Amin, what you got?
You know, I switched up my shades to my Loki colored shades.
Yes.
You know? As y'all see, I've been doing different shades for each one of our series. So these are my, you know, little Lokis, and, you know, had to pick up the shield.
A black man wearing the Stars and Stripes.
As we wrap this up, man, thank y'all to everybody who joined us yet again. We will be back next Monday for another Views Day because we're not done yet. We're going to figure out something. We've been thinking about doing recap reviews of all the MCU while we wait for Black Widow and Loki, or maybe we'll do a Winter Soldier review with some other people, you know, some special guests and stuff to talk about the whole series, see what other people thought about it. But, you know, we'll be back. And thank y'all.
I love you 3000.
Love you.